Vigilante Williamson here with the 16th episode of my show, the Vigilante Williamson Show. I have to manually fade out the music because we're low budget in this piece. It is December 16th, Wednesday, December 16th. Sure more. And I hope you're having a blessed Wednesday, having a blessed holiday season. The year is almost over for what it's worth. It's been one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. One for the ages. And unfortunately, I do not expect 2021 to be much better. But you know what? We have to have optimism. That's why I always end my podcast with a positive news story. And in fact, this is my 100, I've had 100 subscribers and I have close to 100 videos, even though it's not quite correct because I clip out this podcast. So a lot of them are kind of double takes, but I'm close to 100 uploads. And my first video was a positive news podcast. I started a positive news podcast. I'm getting thank you. So I want to Captain Trek, who has actually helped me multiple times. He was one of my first 10 or so subs. And he also let me on the show and got me over 40 or 50. I want to say 50. So thank you so much, Captain Trek. Thank you for the congratulations. And Fenrir, who is a fan who I don't even know how he found me, but I'm glad that he did. Hello, Vigilante Williamson. Congrats on 100 subs. Man, you deserve it. I don't know that I deserve it. Hey, doggy. It's Foulball, Matt Foulball, who's great. Another great channel, one of the many great channels I've met. So I just want to take the time out to just thank everybody. And like I said, I started off doing a positive news podcast as far as this channel. The origin of Vigilante Williamson goes on forever. As I turn my headphones just fall off, so fuck it. It goes on forever, and I can go there while I want to do music. And I actually am going to get back in music. In fact, that's why I just played the beat. So that's going to be the intro, and I have a different beat for the outro. And I've already actually used it in previous videos. So yeah, thank you, Fireball. I appreciate it. So I made it to 100 subs despite my best efforts. I have no idea how I made it. I know how I made it. It was a lot of other people's help. The first podcast or first webcast I actually went on was Sweetcast. He just had an open mic and made me a mod, and I was on. And that was the first time anyone saw me in the mask outside of my channel. And then, like I said, Captain Trek had me on, and Gary's live streams, his member streams, which everyone should check out if you are a member of Nerdrotic. Shout out to Gary at Nerdrotic, who says he actually does occasionally watch the show. So that's cool. That's awesome to know. So yeah, and then he had me on. That's where I met Foulball, and then at one point Captain Trek had me on, got me over 50. And I met Jake D, Paulie Latino Slant, who tries to impersonate me, but there's only one original. And I'm looking back. What is that piece of There's a shirt in the back, of course, that I didn't notice beforehand. You're around. You want to talk Cyberpunk? Okay. You know what? As I end the podcast, I may bring you on because I'm talking Cyberpunk at the end. I wanted to talk about Cyberpunk, but I want to talk about a lot of stuff. I got a lot of news stories. I got positive news stories, and so I might take you up on that if you're still around a little bit later. 'Cause I got a bunch of stuff I want to cover. Tons of stuff. I also have not made a podcast since the Disney, the Empire Strikes Back at Warner Brothers with their investor announcements. I had to talk about that, and I had to talk about a lot of crazy wokeness. But at first, like I said, I started off doing, as far as this channel goes, doing a positive news podcast. And I stopped doing that for a number of reasons. One, I wanted to do other content, but I stopped doing that because it became so politicized. Now, what do you think about this headline that I've seen and I think I may have referenced? Yeah, I will hit you up on Discord with the link if you're still around. So yeah, will we be happier and healthier if we embrace being average? Now, to be 1,000% fair to the article itself, it is about being against perfectionism. But one of the kind of themes of this particular podcast is this, and I'm not trying to be exozone, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory, but the subversive programming thing that's becoming more and more apparent. And this is, again, a positive news site, supposedly positive news, but a lot of it became politicized. So I just say, I'm not, if I'm going to talk about political stuff, I might as well just talk about political stuff because this is getting ridiculous, right? But this article talks about, let me actually get to some of the points. And I don't want to, as somebody who struggled with mental health, I'm not trying to make light of someone who's had mental health issues. But this article that's on this positive news site talking about why we should, embrace being average. And I'll get into my entertainment news, but it's just, and this is based upon a book by a person. And you know what? I've had my struggles with mental illness, and I have attempted, unfortunately, and God willing, I'm still here. But they just had an attempt, and you can see right there in 2019, and they're now writing a book that's coming out in 2021. And I'm with all due respect with this person, I'm not sure they're, and I don't think this is actually the person, I think that's just a picture. I'm not sure they're capable of, I'm not sure they're the right people to tell someone how to, advice on their life. I'm not sure this person is quite prepared to be a life coach. And quite frankly, as someone who's had similar mental health issues, I think this person needs to focus on themselves instead of writing books. But this is just something I wanted to cover because, again, I started off doing positive news, and this is why I kind of shied away, because you get stuff like this that's not really positive. And speaking of things that are not positive in this world, maybe I should get the Shinra music ready, but YouTube is already removing stuff based upon their new election dispute policy. This is Dilbert's, YouTube removes an episode of Dilbert creator Scott Adams' podcast and claims the video violates the 2020 election dispute policy. So we are already in North Korea. Episode of Dilbert creator Scott Adams' Real Coffee podcast has become one of the first casualties of YouTube's newly introduced policy banning content disputing the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. But remember, mainstream media is allowed to lie and cost the country millions of dollars to dispute the 2016 election. And you're not allowed to pay attention to video. On December 11th, shortly after the publication of Real Coffee's 13th episode of if you were MAG or COJ, you might call the host code on that with that numbering, but I'll leave that for people like them. But on that episode titled Biden COVID Plan Swallows Chinese Spy, Pelosi Still Esteeming Powell, Adams announced to his Twitter followers that YouTube just shut me down. The video they deleted is no different from any of my other content or all of my other content, explained Adams. I assume they'll come for other videos soon. Okay. And keep in mind, they have this, according to YouTube's policy, Adams, and here's actually the screenshot. Let me go back to the screenshot and read it. Real Coffee with Scott Adams. We want to let you know that our team has reviewed your content and we think it violates our spam, deceptive practices, and scams policy. I think YouTube is a spam, deceptive practice, and scam in and of itself, but I digress. We know this is a company that's going to monetize all of the creators who are in this stream and myself without giving us a dime, and they're talking about deceptive practices. We know you may not have realized this is a violation of our policies, so we're not going to apply a strike on your channel. However, we removed the following content from YouTube, and then they go on to the episode. We realize this may be disappointing news, but it's our job, no it isn't, to make sure YouTube is a safe place for all. It's a safe place if you allow ideas. It doesn't make it a safe place by you being a censorship. Susan, I'm not gonna call this bitch mama. She ain't fucking birthed me. Susan, whatever the fuck her last name is. Because I know I'm not gonna be monetized. Fuck it. If you think we made a mistake, which you did because you're pieces of shit, you'll find more details below. So this is what they sent Scott Adams, and again with that number in, if you go super exo zone, you may have something there So he's a Trump guy, win bigly. You see what he is. But one thing I wanted to note is their policy, and I thought it was in this article, and I may have skipped over it, but I believe their policy was December 9th. December 9th is when it was introduced, and it was the December 11th episode. So, and it was right after it was publicized, right after it was public. So, on the 9th, they come up with it. On the 11th, they're taking shit down. Okay, let's see what we got. People should always aspire to be more than what they are. I remember a time where things like that were inspiring words. Now they're seen as insults. That's in reference to the first story I was talking about. Sorry, I missed a few of the chat. I was just rolling. But yeah, that's the craziness that they're trying to do. And it kind of links together, right? They're trying to make us all average. They don't want us to think for ourselves. We're not supposed to think. Anything outside of what you say can get taken down. See what Matt Martigan has to say. Congrats on 100 subs. I think we missed each other last week on Wes's stream. Hopefully we can stream together soon. Yeah, hopefully we can, Matt Martigan. I appreciate the congratulations. Congratulations on what your channel is doing. Check out Matt Martigan. Let's see. So it's okay when they make video. Yeah, see, Fenrir gets it. So it's okay when they make videos assaulting Trump and assaulting people. But when it's about safe conversation and the Biden crimes, it's wrong. Man, the hypocrisy, especially considering what's come out with a lot of the Biden stuff as far as his crackhead ass son, and then Foulball just has to laugh. What can you do but laugh at this craziness, at this hypocrisy? Again, 2 days after they come up with their draconian North Korean policy, they're knocking stuff down off YouTube. And yeah, if you go Exozone, you can go Exozone with the numbers, like I said, because I am on a conspiracy theory stuff, which is probably what's going to get me in trouble. But I am going to, I made it to 100 subs. I am going to try to get monetized. I'm not going to hold my tongue too much. I'm probably going to pivot from politics just a little, direct politics, because I just don't care and there's nothing I can do. And again, like I said, I have to go super Exozone to cover everything. And that's not what we're going to do here. Now let's talk about this lovely young lady, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself. Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out in a few weeks on Christmas. And because I bought this piece of crap that me and Matt may talk about later, I get it for free. I bought it from Best Buy. I'm not going to be able to refund it. Thank you for that, Cyberpunk. And yeah, so anyways, I get this for free, thank goodness. And Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic revealed their scores for Wonder Woman 1984, and apparently the real Vigilante Williamson is here. Oh no, I've been found out. Hell, Latino Slant, hell, Paulie, thank you so much for all the help you have helped me to these 100 subs. Everybody has helped me. I feel like it's been a group effort, and I really want to reward the people who have subbed. And reward your sub and make your sub feel worth it. You know what I mean? And I really thank everyone who's giving me support. I really appreciate it. All right, into this article. The Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic scores for Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot's upcoming Wonder Woman 1984 film have been revealed. The Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter score sits at 94% from 16 reviews, has 15 fresh ratings, 1 rotten rating with an average of 7.5 out of 10. So solid-ish good. Now, I liked Wonder Woman. I liked the first one quite a bit, to be frank. I think I have a higher view on it than most, mainly because I went in with lower expectations, but mainly because to me, it was the first film of the DCAU, what they were doing that was impactful, because after they did this, then they had Aquaman and Shazam, and they got themselves back on track. And then when you have the hype and excitement for the Snyder Cut, I feel like this film needs to get its flowers for the DCAU. It's basically, it ends up kind of being the Iron Man or the Captain America maybe of the series. I know that's easy link, but it just really set the whole DC movie slate right. So I'm having a higher hope for this than most. Now, as is even. And this is kind of the main reason I'm covering this. I mean, most of this is positive reviews, B, C, but this is the kind of controversial one, if you will. Matt Goldberg at Collider Collider, ladies and gentlemen, is a woke outlet, and they're giving it a C- grade, or at least Matt Goldberg is, because Patty Jenkins' sequel is a well-intentioned but sloppy punch against Trumpism. And I think there's another critic who has a similar thing, that it may be a little bit too hard on the Orange Man Bad. Now, I'll be honest, when I actually saw the trailer initially, yeah, I got the Orange Man Bad, but I got more of a Tony Robbins vibe from Pedro Pascal, because he was like a 80s infomercial. That's almost the vibe I got. I mean, yeah, there was some Orange Man. Maybe there's more. I think he does more to like generic cheesy mannerisms, and so it's probably not gonna hit. But I'm still hoping for a good movie. I'm hoping that it's not too woke. I mean, the original one wasn't woke. Oh, Latino Slant is being nice to me. Hold on. Congrats, hombre. You are a neat voice. Onward and upwards. Gotta go. I appreciate you being here at all, Latino Slant. Shout out to Paulie. Check out his channel. He has a lot of cool things going on. Has had the beautiful Nina Diaz doing a lot of covers on his channel. So check that out. And a lot of other stuff. And I've been on there too. So I've lowered it a bit. But I digress. For the most part, you see positive reviews, and that's what I'm hoping for. I don't think this will be as good as the first one. I honestly just don't like the premise. With her being so heartbroken over Steve Trevor and bringing him back like 60 years, it's just cheesy, and I don't know. But maybe they'll explain it. Maybe it'll be good, and I don't know. But Patty Jenkins has her work cut out for her. A lot of work cut out for her. I mean, I think there's a lot of hype, and we'll get into a little bit later, but who's this guy? Rowan Johnson, yeah. It's funny, this guy, his name, he was linked to the Felony Filoni, who y'all love. Well, I ain't gonna say y'all. I don't know if y'all love him. I'm not huge on Filoni. And now Miss Patty Jenkins had the great, magnificent trailer with her and Rogue One, had this personal story about her and her father, about wanting to tell fighter jet story. But Rowan Johnson is still doing something with Star Wars. I'll get into this when I really crack open Disney. But there's a rumor, and hope this week. These are rumors. This is rumor, all alleged. Everything I'm saying is alleged, rumor. Take it with a quarter of a grain of salt. I love Bonnie in the comics, but they report on rumors, and rumors may be true, may not be true. Let's hope to God this is not true. Oh, Lord Thoth. Hey, congrats. Thank you, Lord Thoth. I appreciate all your help and support on to 100 subs. But let's get into something that's going to scare the crap out of us. The latest rumor circling Star Wars is that Last Jedi director Rowan Johnson may still be working on ruining Star Wars, and that he might secretly be destroying Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie. The Wonder Woman 1984 director, Patty Jenkins, was announced to be the director of the upcoming Rogue Squadron film at Disney Investor Day 2020. Again, with a brilliant trailer or teaser. I don't know, it wasn't a trailer, but just a nice speech that made you feel, yes, this is the person for this job. She has an investment in telling this story. But that does not look like the case. Like this. Remember when parents used to hit their kids and they did something bad, sat with them and taught them that there were certain things that should be done for the greater good of humanity? I am old enough to remember that, Fenrir, because I was born in the 80s. And so I had parents in the 90s who helped teach me that sort of stuff. And I was a quiet kid. I didn't get too many whoopings. I got a couple. Got my share of whoopings. That era is dead and gone. Dead and gone. Sorry, the Depends commercial. The Depends ad distracted me. I'm sorry. Oh man. Yeah, I feel we have more parents like that instead of parents that told their kids they're always right and invincible. The world wouldn't be this messed up. I agree. And we're going to get into some weird stuff with kids actually in the next article. Just dropped in to say congrats, got to run, nice work, keep up the fight. I just thank you for just showing up. I appreciate it, Lord Thoth. If you can, listen to the playback. If you can't, I appreciate that too. I know everyone's busy, have family. Hopefully, you're able to meet with family during this time of year. But let's get back to this dangerous news. I know Fenrir was talking. I could really rant about the parents thing. Maybe I'll touch on it a little bit in the next article because it actually may link to it. But as far as this goes, Lucas is talking about the announcement. Let's talk about more the rumor. Okay, does it have more Brian Johnson? Okay, the gossip concerning Johnson being the unannounced and secret script writer on Rogue Squadron comes from inside the Magic. So I don't know how reputable they are. So this is, third hand. You're getting this from me, who's getting this from Bonding in the Comics, who's getting it from inside the Magic, who's getting it from however the hell they're getting it. So that's how you have to take this rumor. Oh man, what happened to my camera? My camera just shit the bed. Am I back? Wow, my camera completely shot the bed. I'm sitting here maxed up. No camera. Wow. Thank you, StreamYard. I appreciate that. Can I get the camera back? I'm gonna try to refresh my StreamYard and see. Hey everybody, hopefully I'm still on. That sucked. Technical issue sucked. So my camera totally shit the bed. That's what happens when I turn my camera on. So I'm gonna get comfortable, take my mask off. I hate this. Everyone tells me try to wear the mask more. The second I do, my camera just said, fuck you. So I apologize. Of course, my 100 subscriber episode, there's going to be some technical issues. So first, let me know. Can you hear me? Am I back? Do you hear me? Please in the chat, let me know. I'm going to get this back going. This sucks because I wanted to be on camera for you guys. But it is not to be, it looks like. I would probably have to, restart everything. Okay, Fenrir says I am on. So okay, I guess I'll finish the rest of the episode without camera. And yeah, sorry about that. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do real quick, since I've already kind of screwed up the flow, and I'll just re-edit it. I'm just gonna give Matt the link, and then I'll just see. So bear with me. Oh shit, I gotta hold on. To vamp a little bit, I can kind of talk about what Fenrir was talking about the soft ass parents, basically. It's not just that we have soft ass parents, bro. You got to remember these parents, especially the parents, a lot of these kids, our parents are my age, a little bit older. These are the kids, if your kid, the 16, 17-year-olds, just let you know how old I am. They have parents maybe my age, a little older, and they want to be cool. They want to listen to hip hop. They want to still be cool. That's why you got these 39-year-old girls, 40-year-old women who want to go out to the club still. And they have to be mother. These are the mothers and the fathers of our future generation. I remember my mom. Long story short, she would just sometimes babysit for people she worked with, and there was these young couple got together, just divorced, and they were only together a little bit, and they got divorced, and they never really gave a shit about their kid. They never even gave a fuck about who was in the house with their child. because they were too busy to getting revenge on each other by fucking other people. And those are the people raising kids. So when you talk about having parents to, sit them down and do all that, you need parents to even give a shit till you even get to that point, man. Okay, so let me give Matt the link. So just to vamp for that, and because he brought that up, and I didn't really finish the subject. We are so far away from having parents to do that with kids because we don't even have parents that realize they're not still kids. And that's not for all the parents out there. I know that there's a lot of you who have children. Jake D has kids, and I know Nano Reaper, he's talked about how he homeschools his children, which is a good thing. So, like, I get it. Not everybody's just lost in the sauce, and I get that not everyone can, give everyone everything. I understand, but you just have these these parents that just don't care about their kids. They still want to be young. They care more about their own youth and the lack thereof than anything else. So, Matt, I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm gonna hopefully I just sent you the link. But I got a few things. I'm gonna bring you on after I get to these preliminary stories. I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna finish up these stories, and then I'll bring you on. And if you want to hop on, hop in, you can go ahead, and then we can just talk about this Disney crap and Cyberpunk to end out. But yeah, it's real sad. And then parents not supposed to be cool; they're supposed to be harsh and enforcing, creating hard times for their kids because hard times create strong men. My parents were like that with me. I was angry at them growing up. But as I started growing up, I started to see they were doing it for my own good. And today I'm grateful to them. Yeah, I am too. I have a work ethic as a result of the same thing. I know you do too. This guy, not sure what I'm supposed to talk about. He has fucking 3 seasons plus of a show written. I'm not going to talk too much more because I don't want to ruin his $1 trillion idea when he's this great creator. When we're talking about Fenrir and his movies and the stuff he's doing. But he's a real brilliant dude. And, I'm sure a lot of that work ethic comes just from having a strong upbringing. Speaking and who your teacher is matters, right? Who teaches you matters. That's to link it all back to the story. And is Patty Jenkins being taught by this dude? Again, this is I'm getting this rumor from Bonnie in the Comics, who's getting this rumor from Inside the Magic, who's getting this rumor. This is Rebecca Barton. She speculates the reason the scriptwriter isn't announced is because it could be Rian Johnson. One potential reason for not sharing the screenwriter's name is it might be Rian Johnson. As for why, we know why you wouldn't want to announce Johnson. It says for a variety of reasons from fans. It's like, we know why. I don't need to explain why you don't want Rian Johnson to be writing anything with Star Wars. Why does he want to deal with Star Wars? I thought we were all man babies or whatever the fuck he said. Leave us alone. Go. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck. What the fuck are you doing? I don't want you ever come around here no more. Ever. Never. I'm fucking up the quote. But while Barton details she would not be happy with Rowan returning to write the script for Rogue Squadron, she claims it actually tracks with what we know about his trilogy. Oh, no. So everyone's been talking, and we'll get into the Disney thing shortly, but everyone's been talking about this damn trilogy that, oh, yeah, he lost his trilogy. Well, if he's still involved, if he's involved with Patty Jenkins, he's got his fucking trilogy back in his own way. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll still have a way of impacting Star Wars. And he needs to be gone. Get the fuck out of here. We're toxic man babies. Why do these people care? They hate us as fans. They hate us. But they care so much about fucking up our shit. Speaking of fucking up our shit and bad parenting, this shit. They care about, like, and I'm not, no disrespect if you like any of these cartoons. I see Steven Universe, We Bear Bears. What's the man, Craig? I've seen him before. I know of him, right? But it's more of our shit just being ruined. Rian Johnson has to still be involved with Star Wars for no fucking reason. No one knows why. No, let's hope it's a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. It's fourth hand knowledge, because you're getting it from me, who got it from Bound from Comics, who got it from a different thing. But it's the same thing. Somebody has to ruin it. And we talk about bad parenting and shit, misrepresentation. Cartoon Network teams with the National Black Justice Coalition to teach kids about gender pronoun and new comic. First things first. Our Papa freaks all the honeys. No. Why is the National Black Justice Coalition? And we saw this similar with BLM. Why are they so concerned with the LGBTQ? I mean, I'm sure I know there's black LGBTQ, obviously, but why are you called the National Black Justice? Why aren't you called something that refers to that? Why are you you want us to use pronouns, but in the name of this fucking coalition, you're trying to hide what you really are. You're hiding it behind race. Just like how BLM only shows up when a black man is there to die, and everything they're about is smashing the patriarchy. The patriarchy includes black men. Everything they're about is LGBTQ, and I'm not trying to discriminate against the LGBTQ community or anyone like that, just so long as you don't add P, or else you go, that shit's not gonna be tolerated. Oh man, Fenrir, I'm sorry. I feel you. Nearly vomited as you watch this shit. What does this guy wants to do here? What is this guy like? Why is he still involved? And then is this got a 5-year-old little sister? I'm not letting her see this. I want to have a normal childhood without shit like this to give them migraines. Thank you, Fenrir the Ice Wolf. Who is this for? Because if I have a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old, I don't want them to give a fuck about anything regarding anything near sexual identity. Because kids are not supposed to have sexuality, despite what people who like Cuties said. Because if you remember my Cuties video way back when, the plug, I had actually the screenshot. I can't get it up quick enough because I'm not even signed in, but the screenshot had an article talking about conservative parents who are upset with the sexuality of children, as if you're supposed to normalize that. And that's one of the backdoor things that is not really discussed with all this LGBTQ stuff for kids. Why is sexuality at all being associated with children? It shouldn't be. This is like I was sick for Dwayne Wade to have his 11-year-old at the parade, 12-year-old, whatever he was, at the parade, or sick for them to have that boy stripping for men. It's the same sort of vibe I get from this. And they're trying to normalize it. They literally say that. They literally say we're trying to normalize pronouns. But I'm talking so much shit. Let me get into the article. Cartoon Network and the National Black Justice Coalition, because I don't know why Black Justice, why is LGBTQ the only thing for Black Justice? I don't know. But they have teamed up to produce a new mini comic that aims to educate children on the subject of gender pronouns. Gender pronouns describe a person's gender identity. For example, pronouns are she, her, they, them, and zir. My pronouns, if you're wondering, are he. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Him, his, and hero, because I identify as a vigilante, obviously. But I digress. A lot of people are learning about gender. If you're comfortable, you can share your own pronouns. I just did. Remember, I am it's his, him, and hero. I do not want to read, so please be respectful of my pronouns. Gender pronouns, we can't tell someone's gender just by looking at them, and shouldn't assume we know. There are many gender identities beyond girl and boy, and some people don't identify as any gender. If you have kids watching this on a playback, if I clip this out, is this what you think this is important for your children to know? And if you are like me and Fenrir, if you're a brother, are you cool with, do you find this good use of the National Black Justice Coalition's time? If you're super woke and you support the National Black Justice Coalition, which I'm sure you, like me, didn't know they existed until this article, but why do they consider this to be the most important thing in Black justice? That's talking about the BLM thing. So This is published, Craig of the Creek, that's the name of the show. Published on December 14th, a mini comic follows Cartoon Network's characters Craig of the Creek, Stevenie. I didn't watch Steven Universe. So Steven Universe, Chloe from We Bare Bears, as they meet two non-binary individuals and learn how to use personal gender pronouns. We can't tell someone's gender just by looking at them, and shouldn't, so we know, as I read previously. Here we go. Exactly. Kids are supposed to play and not give attention to the problems of the world. Leave it to when there's their turn. That's why we have these things called childhood and adulthood. Well, I mean, these people are sick. They're sick. There's a sick reason. You know, I can have a maybe that's a distorted view, but there's a sick reason they want all that stuff. And on Instagram, Cartoon Network wrote, "Here's to not only normalizing gender pronouns, but respecting them too. Our hearts, whether you use he, she, them, or something else, we acknowledge, affirm, and love you." So I'm going to paraphrase a content creator I respect. Hopefully I can get it right. And he's actually paraphrasing a man who was called the most wicked man on earth. When they talk about love, they're not talking about the love that you think of, whether it's love for a parent or a brother or anything they're talking about. You think it's a whatchamacallit. What is it? It's a Crawley. I can't think of it, but it's love, and love should be the law. Do as thou wilt, and love, and the love of the law is land. Love or some shit like that. I don't know the wicked. It's some phrase like that. It's basically saying, you know, whatever you call love is love. And they really enjoy the love of children, if you get my drift, which is why you have this LGBTQ stuff pushed to children. Let's see what my brother's talking about back in the motherland. He said, you know, I don't want to sound mean. No, you need to sound, we need meanness, because this shit is bullshit, Fenrir. No, don't, you don't got to hold back. But here in Africa, we laugh at gender stuff like this. Men and women, straight and gay, all sides, because we have bigger shit to worry about, like working. You want to know something, Fenrir? We got this same shit to worry about here, because jobs is funky here. That's another thing. Out of all the things going on in the world, we need to focus on gender pronouns. It's the same thing when they keep talking about this climate change. I'm sure it's important, but motherfuckers are trying to eat. There are food lines going out the goddamn, going down miles long. You're talking about fucking gender pronouns. Because they're actual things that matter than one's emotions. If you say emotions are what matters, they slap sense into you. Exactly. You ain't got time for this. If you remember the whole controversy about The Last of Us, about them making pronouns such a big deal, was the fact that they're in a post-apocalyptic world and there are more things to worry about than somebody's fucking pronouns. We are in a pre-apocalyptic world, so there's more things to worry about than somebody's fucking pronouns. But there's a sick fucking ulterior motive to all this bullshit as I go into and then of course the National Black Justice Coalition, and they do always lie. They always lie. You can't just say the National Gay Black Coalition and be honest with what you are, but they're a civil rights organization dedicated to the empowerment of Black, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and same gender loving. So no straight, and including people with with this disease, whose mission is to end racism, homophobia, and biases. And their team with Cartoon Network, they think this is important for our kids. They made a comment. And is this harmless? Honestly, no, it isn't. Because there's going to be more content like this. The idea is you send your kids to school, and their teachers tell them everything is all right, and and I'm not trying to be discriminatory against these people or not. People should live how they want to live. I'm a libertarian. You live your life, but they should not be pushing this shit to kids. Good and goddamn well they shouldn't be pushing this shit to kids. Anything, you should just stop pushing shit in general. Let people learn to accept each other as they are. There's not that many kids who are going to naturally be trans anything, because kids shouldn't be trans. They're too young. When they're 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, whatever, man. Even I'm being lenient. I shouldn't even say 13, right? Okay, 13, middle school, going into high school, 14, whatever, man. But fucking 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, people who watch Craig of the Creek need to know about Z and Ziri. This doesn't make any fucking sense. We got bigger fish to fry. All right, so Matt, I'm not sure if you're watching this. You want? I sent the link on Discord. If you want to hop in, I'm gonna cover this story, and if you want to hop in and talk about this, you can, because I hadn't talked about this, and I'll probably clip this out in the video. So feel free to hop in if you're still there. But Marvel Comics, more of this forcing you in Fenrir. So, right, survival is what matters, man. That's what's important. But Marvel Comics, out of pure spite, puts Guardians of the Galaxy Star Lord into bisexual relationship. Hold on. Just make sure. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just trying to make sure Mac is. Okay. All right. Let's restart. Marvel Comics puts Guardian Galaxy Star Lord in bisexual relationship. Why does this matter? Well, because they want to troll Chris Pratt. Marvel Comics recently put Guardians of the Galaxy character Star Lord into a bisexual relationship. In the latest issue, shout out to Toyota at the bottom. In the latest issue and current Guardians of the Galaxy run by Al Ewing and Juan Cabal, Star Lord awakens naked on the planet Morinus and encounters alien nomads Aradia and Moors. When he meets Aradia and Moors, the only thing he has in his possession is his element gun. Show some of the panels, but he quickly just discovers that they're in a relationship. Not only are they in a relationship, but they invite Star-Lord to join them. When Aradia tells him, "Our fire is yours, our food is yours, our bond should be yours too. You've become all part of us, Peter, part of our togetherness." However, Star-Lord initially refused to join them. He tells them, "But in my world, culture is different. There's somebody she's the someone for me, and I still haven't given up on getting back." So this is them in a campfire. This is creepy. After spending 12 years on Morinus, Quill eventually decides to join their two in togetherness and describes them as my home. Quill says specifically it's been over a decade, time to accept the truth. Aradia, Morinus is my home, you're my home. Thanks for accepting me, guys. And then you get this panel. Yeah, later in the comic, after spending 140 years on the planet, it appears that one of them knocked her up. So there's that. But then minutes later, she's no longer pregnant. I don't know if she's alien. I don't know how that works. But minutes later, she's no longer pregnant, and she's seen soaring in the sky alongside Quill with a noticeably flat stomach, no longer with the baby bump. Quinn, I think it's Quill. But him being a bisexual, new relationship or relationships, a new development for the character. First appearance is all the way back in Marvel Previews number 4 from 1976. He implies it was intimate. One of the women who welcomed him into NASA's training center in Houston. And so yeah, this is on the outside. Who is he? Is he new here? He's all right, and it's just talking about. So it's implied that he bangs her basically. And it's talking about Star-Lord's ship being his companion. Just talking about other stuff. But as Fenrir said, they just want to take a shot at Chris Pratt It's like they hate money. That's basically what it is. So in Marvels, it's 98% of the population gay and not 2% like in the real world. In all entertainment, everyone is homosexual in entertainment. And listen, again, nobody is discriminating against anybody in the LGBTQ community. Um, they're using, and I know a lot of y'all know because they do it to me. They do it to any group. They're using different groups as shields, and in this case, as bullets to shoot at people. They're just messing with Chris Pratt. This just shows. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're trying to troll him like this matters. It doesn't. Even though, to be fair, and Gary from Neurotic brought up this point, Kevin Feige is the head of Marvel in general, so he has to sign off on something like this. So he must have been okay, which is stupid because even though I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, yes, I don't like it. It is one of the most successful properties Marvel has had. He's the star of that property. Why are you trying to destroy his character? Why, when the biggest reason you did not sell comics over this entire comic boom, the entire thing, is because the characters in the comic did not match the characters in the movie. And this is just talking about his relationships from here on. Okay, but the main point is what Fenrir said. They wanted to fuck with Chris Pratt. They wanted to harass Chris Pratt. Why? Look at this shit. And I mean, I'm not trying to, what is this? What is this? What is this? What? Who is this for? How are you going to sell more comics? I'm just almost at a loss. Who cares? Like, listen, man. Who cares about Chris Pratt? You guys made up the shit. He was never even invited to this damn Biden shit, but you guys just, decided to attack him, and now the creators need to fuck with him. This is bullshit. It's stupid, and it's a waste of time. So I'm not sure. Like I said, man, if you want to hop in at any point, feel free. Time for the two main event topics. We have to talk about Disney and all of their shenanigans. So their stock rose 14% after their shill Investor Day bonanza. And this is crazy to me because a lot of stocks have done this. Like WWE used to always shill and cheat with their numbers and then convince their investors and their stock will rise. Other stocks do this. And it's really amazing to me. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of cool stuff announced at Disney Investor Day. But for their stock to go up that high, I don't know. So, I mean, I really should have got do they have the thumbnail with everything? I don't think they do. You know what? Let me get that ready. But as far as this massive list of all the stuff Disney's going to do, the best way to think of it is some of it's going to be woke, trash. Some of it's just going to be trash. Some of it's going to be good. Some of it's not going to be made. That's really the best way to consider this slate as a whole. And it's really sick when you consider that their stock has risen. When you consider that they've laid off so many people, but they still have so much money to invest behind this. Like putting it together as one is sick because you feel like it was their way for them to save jobs. But that's a whole nother digression, especially when you consider, like I said, they paid out bonuses, and I said that in the last episode. They paid out bonuses. Stock has went up, but all these jobs got laid off. It's really it's hard to put all together. But I digress. Still trying to find the damn thing. Okay, here's found the Lucasfilm one. Let's put that together. No, cancel. Open image in a new tab. There we go. There we go. So this is the Lucasfilm one. Let me check out Marvel. Sorry about that. I should have had that prepared. I don't know why. Okay, I think this is it for Marvel. It's funny, when you look at Marvel, it looks lighter as far as the slate, but I'm more excited about the Marvel slate than the Star Wars slate by a long shot. And I'll pull it up for you. Hopefully you should see that. So we're going to go through each slate individually. Let me get back to where I know what I'm doing. Okay. So let's get into each slate individually and just talk about it. Like I said, I kind of said my piece about a lot of the business side of it. It's a lot of unscrupulousness. As you can see, at least from this, what they have as logos, there's more Star Wars. I'm sorry, yeah, more Star Wars than Marvel. And then let me get this rid of this. This has a huger list with stuff outside of it. This, and I don't think that includes. Have I heard? No, so this doesn't have everything on there. So I may have to refer to this. But as far as the Lucasfilm stuff, the Star Wars stuff, obviously Willow is not Star Wars, but that's Lucasfilm, and I don't see Indiana Jones in this, which I don't want to see. So we know the Mandalorian has spent this whole season spinning things off. So that's why you get Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. And some people have said, oh, they rushed that Rangers. I don't know. Like, if you watch this episode or this season, when they've had Gina Carano, they've been trying to push her. They've been trying to show her in a good light. Even in the last episode, they would give these shots, these very heroic shots of Gina whenever they could. I really think they had a little bit of a plan to put her in her spinoff, and I think they've been pushing her. And apparently, she's one of the more popular celebrities in the world. She's one of the top 40 most popular celebrities in the world. I didn't realize she had gotten that popular. I didn't realize that at all. I knew that we liked her, but I thought maybe it was just niche or just us. I thought it was just me, drunk 3PO, and you know what I mean. The fandom likes her, but not like it. That, but apparently it is like that. She's right below her ex, which is Superman. So she's one of the more popular people on the planet right now, believe it or not. So they're putting the rocket strap behind her. They're going to push her. I mean, I don't think the rumor about her having to apologize is true, because I think Pedro had a soft apology, but he didn't have to release a statement. So I think this is a show they're pushing. I can't remember the release times. Let's see if they have it in the article. They had a release. No, they don't have release dates. They don't have release dates in the article. I know a lot of it's 2022, 2023, but I'm excited about this. I'm obviously excited by another season by The Mandalorian. Now, outside of that, I wanted to be excited for Rogue Squadron. Leave me alone, but stop. Hide. But as I just read earlier, not Pedro, Rowan Johnson is involved, potentially rumored through. So that gives me pause on that. I wanted to be excited about Obi-Wan Kenobi, but they already have Darth Vader as the promo image, talking about the greatest rematch that already happened in episode 1. So that destroys canon. So that means not going to want to see this. Acolyte, that is Leslie Headpieces, woke piece of garbage that she's using to this is what she's leveraged all of the dirt that she has on Hollywood to get this woke piece of crap. So that's not going to be interesting. Visions maybe, because I believe that's the anime series, so that has the potential to be cool. Lando, I'm not interested in seeing Donald Glover fuck droids. I've been told that he's does a good job at being Lando and at being Billy D. Williams, and he's a good enough actor to do it. But if they're gonna, we just talked about all this overly pushing a gay. Look what they just did with Chris Pratt. You know what I'm saying? What do you think they're gonna do with Lando when he's established as a pansexual? That seems like garbage. I never was a Clone Wars person, so Bad Batch I'm indifferent on. A droid story I'm indifferent on, and Willow I don't care about. And then Andor, I like Rogue One a lot, right? Even though I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't say I like it that much. This may be a cool miniseries. And one thing to be noted, Obi-Wan is supposed to be a miniseries as well. And I also think in general, miniseries may replace the movie. Because I just think budget-wise, you'll see it easier to be greenlit as a miniseries for streaming than a feature film. And I think a lot of things are going that way. And I think the positive of what Disney has is they're set up for that future. But Andor, I'm not gonna say I'm not excited about. I know Paulie's really excited about it, and it has the potential to be something really interesting. If it's in the vein of Rogue One, which was until to me the last episode of Mandalorian, arguably the best thing that Disney ever produced under the Star Wars banner, it can be something special. It very much can be. It has lower standards, so Andor has the potential. Ahsoka, man, I'm like I said, I'm not a Rebels guy. I'm not a Clone Wars guy. I'm not a Filoni guy. He has connections to Ruin Johnson as well. Apparently, it was quote unquote just for filming and shooting, but like doing the technical aspect of being an on-camera director as opposed to animation, doing live action as opposed to animation. Supposedly, that's what Filoni was learning from Ruin Johnson. But still, why is Ruin Johnson still attached to Lucasfilm? A lot is made about KK, Crackling Kennedy, Steven Spielberg's old side piece. A lot of Hollywood's old side piece in the 80s, Kathleen Kennedy. A lot is made about her attachment to Lucasfilm. Why in the world is Ruin Johnson still involved at Lucasfilm? Please explain to me why he's teaching Dave Filoni how to shoot and film, and why he's apparently rumored to be linked to Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. He should be cast out like a leper. It's bad enough that Leslie Headpiece and all of the dirt she has on Hollywood is going to keep her and KK in that position, along with the fact that she and Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian, and let's be honest, they still made billions off the Disney tragedy. Billions. So it's a harder sell to these investors to just get rid of her. Okay. You can try to neutralize her. There's a lot to be done. She may already be neutralized. Who knows? But fucking Ruin Johnson? There should be no reason for him to be at Star Wars or at Lucasfilm at all. He ruined the franchise. To be honest, beyond actual repair. It can still grow. It can become something new, but it will never be what it was. And of course, if they rematch Vader and Kenobi, it will ruin a presence I haven't felt in a long time part in episode 1. Also, it'll ruin the the last time we met, I was but the pupil, now I am the master, And then Rowan is probably still in Star Wars because like Candy, he's got some dirt on bit. Yeah. I got it. I keep saying that about Hedlund and Kennedy because Hedlund is Weinstein's old assistant. And even Kennedy, like I said, Kennedy got around back in the days. She might have a Me Too story she can go to the press with on somebody. Because, that's all Kathleen Kennedy was. She was somebody who got people's coffee. She was shaking her little tiddly wigglies in one of the, I want to say, the second Indiana Jones movie. Temple of Doom, I want to say it was. I can't remember offhand because I'm an hour into a stream and I'm having a streamer brain. But, yeah. The Lucasfilm is... As far as all media, this whole thing, like I said earlier, there's going to be some woke, there's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. I think there's potential, but to be fair, there's more potential in Marvel slate. Even though they have less stuff, and there's stuff missing. There's stuff missing. I don't see Riri Williams, which I don't think should be involved. It's not missing much. But really, the top 4 up top, I am extremely excited about. I'm covering WandaVision. I'm going to do weekly reviews on that like I was doing Mandalorian. Loki looks great. What If looks interesting, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier looks good too. And I think from what I saw, Falcon and Winter Soldier had that same, similar to the Mandalorian being a big budget action film, it had that same type of feel. Like, oh, this is going to be a big budget thing. So I think that's going to be good. So those 4 shows, these top 4, I'm so much more excited for than anything that Star Wars has, except the next season of The Mandalorian. And I do want to see Rangers. See what else. Is there anything else that's not? The Hawkeye, I'm indifferent on. Secret Invasion, maybe. Armor Wars, I Am Groot. A lot of that stuff I don't care about, I'll be honest. But I do care about WandaVision. I think that looks like an interesting show. I think it's a very interesting Bewitched-esque theme. It looks like it's about an alternate universe that Wanda creates in her own mind. And I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to cover it. I like the second or the latest trailer. It'll be really interesting. I guess Matt. I'm not sure if Matt's coming on. Matt, if you are out there, you can feel free to hop on because after this, I'm gonna start talking about Cyberpunk. And talk a little bit about HBO Max and then Cyberpunk. But WandaVision, like I said, that looks real interesting. Falcon and the Winter Soldier has a big budget action movie feel and some of the spy feel from the movie Winter Soldier. I think Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have a natural chemistry. It may, if there is a weakness that I saw, it could be too Marvel-y. I think the one weakness and there's plenty of weaknesses in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even though I've been a fan of a lot of it, not all of it, but can get too jokey, and they may be a little jokey, but I think it may work. It could also be buddy cop, and it could work. Low-key looks really interesting because it shows what happens in the end of Endgame. There's an alternate universe Loki who gets the Tesseract, and it shows what happens to him, and that's going to be an interesting story. And then What If? And it's going to be an interesting cartoon. So I don't know as far as Loki if that's a miniseries or ongoing, and I'm not sure about What If either. Both look interesting. And the real thing is this was all to go against HBO Max, which finally, after all of this crap, and I'm a Roku user, finally has a deal with Roku. I think HBO Max lost majorly. They only have, according to this, was it 12 million? One of these reports, where's the subscribers? This has this thing which has 46 million accounts, but that's Roku has 46 million. I'm sorry. I'm trying to skim through because I'm getting a little late, and I do want to spend a lot of time on Cyberbug because I have to rant on that. And if Matt, if you are there, feel free to join. Hopefully you have it, and my thing isn't frozen. Where's it showing them viewers? Oh no, their subs. Here we go. HBO Max has reached 12.6 million activations by early December. 12.6 million. Now, this article has 8.6 million as of October, but obviously it's a lot more since the announcement. And this gives you the numbers. Now, Disney, we know this number is closer to 80 now. This is as of October, but Netflix hasn't gone up too much. So 200 million for Netflix, as I've covered in the past, that's to lose $3 billion a year. HBO Max still is not global. They just got on Roku and Fire Stick. Like literally just, because even as of this article, as of October, they weren't available. They are hoping for 50 million by 2025. 50 million at 15 ain't gonna do it, Chief. Not for as much money as you guys spent. Holy smokes. And they're only at 12 now. 12 million. They put their entire slate. And they have 12 million subs to watch Wonder Woman. Maybe they'll get to 15. Maybe they'll get to 15 million. by Wonder Woman, Fenrir. How would secret invasion work? Good point. I mean, the scrolls are good in this world, so how could it work? It can't. That's how. Yeah, that's right. I never saw Captain Marvel, but yeah, that's right. They made the scrolls. Um, they were trying to do some racist allegory because they're stupid. So who knows how that's gonna work? But HBO Max, fucking Christopher Nolan was right. Anyone who was dealing with HBO and Warner went to bed thinking that they were dealing with the biggest streaming or the biggest biggest entertainment company in the world, and they woke up with the world's worst streaming service. And their 5-year target is less than what Disney did in a year. How is this going to math? It isn't. It's going to fail unless they are banking off of bailouts and just more stuff because of this HBO Max crap. They are shifting the Mortal Kombat and Tom and Jerry release dates. Now, I didn't give a shit about Tom and Jerry. And I guess Hugh Jackman's film reminisced, but the fact that they, I only vaguely knew that there was a Mortal Kombat live action, and this may be a blessing in disguise if this gets adapted as a series. I think it works better as a series. But the live action adaptation that was originally scheduled for January 15th has got moving back to April 16th. So they're moving back to HBO Max. They don't know what they're doing. And they're going to destroy their half of the entertainment industry with their incompetence. Disney is going to kill them. That's why I'm covering them. Disney is going to kill them. I need to get the video clip ready. Maybe my next episode. Congratulations, you've played yourself. It took you this long to get with Roku. You still are not outside of the United States, and you put all of your movies on this platform for 4 million more subs. You gave up 2 years worth of films, and I'm not bullshitting when I say 4 million more subs. As of this is a December article, December 20th. That's why I'm highlighting this section so you can see the date. It says HBO Max has really reached 12.6 million. As of October 22nd, HBO Max has reached 8.6 million. So that's 4 million people. The only thing that has changed is the fact that HBO has put every single movie that they were supposed to release in 2021, which, by the way, includes things that were pushed back from 2020. So that's why I said 2 years. They push all of that on to their streaming service, and all they have to show for it is 4 million times 15. That's $60 million. They put billions and billions of dollars worth of film on their platform and have made $60 million for it. Now, it could be monthly, and that's me doing the math. Hopefully I did that right in my head. 4 million times 50. Yeah, $60 million. And they may leave if you can get the whole year. If you get the whole year of that added on, you'll get, what is that, 60 times 10, 600, 720 mil 720 million off of all those movies. So you'll make one of those movies box office, because Wonder Woman 84 would have got $1 billion if it came out in the right climate. It would have got $1 billion. Kong versus Godzilla, not sure about $1 billion, but at least 500 to 750. These were big budget movies. Dune is probably the height from that, could have got $1 billion. But now you're going to get $1 billion for all of them combined. That's smart. Look, HBO Max is going to fail big, mainly because NTN doesn't. AT&T, I think is what you're trying to say, doesn't know the thing that they have in their hands. Streaming ain't going to make it. Yeah, I've talked about streaming being a stopgap. It's not going to work. They're already delaying the stuff they have. It's just not going to work. Not sure if Matt is there, but the next topic is Cyberpunk. So again, Matt, if you are there, I hit you up on the Discord. So I'm not sure if you're still there. But if you are there, please hop in. But I am going to start talking about Cyberpunk. You know what I should do? You know what I am going to do? I am going to plug. More vamping needed. I am going to plug my shit. I'm going to plug my shit because you need to see what's happening to me. You need to see. And this came in at the end of a stream that, like, I'm at the end of my rope. I put an hour into the stream. Let me hold on a second. Stop the screen. Reshare. Make sure share audio. Okay. But before we get into the Cyberpunk, I gotta tell you my experience. This came an hour in to a stream on Sunday that I'm streaming my little head off. I'm having trouble with this level in all foods. I've been told that I can hack this card that got me into trouble off. Hack the virus off. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler or whatever. Maybe spoilers for Cyberbug in this next segment. But this is me at the end of an hour stream. It's late. I need to get up the next morning. I really shouldn't be streaming, but I want to get through this level. And I have this boss defeated. Yes, he glitched out. And I do my little video. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear myself. I am not a narcissist. I actually hate the sound of my own voice. But let's see my experience playing Cyberpunk, a game at launch in years. So this is just me with a little intro about what happened. We were duped. This company made its entire budget back, pre-ordered for a beta. This game is not finished. It should have been pushed back to March or April of 2021. Let me know if you can hear the video, by the way. That's not what happened because it had to get in before Christmas. Look at me. Try to save. Can't save while I'm in combat. Red did with the review hour after a bunch of attempts to beat this level. I finally did it. Footage for reviews until the day before. This is a grift. It is unscrupulous and it's outright disgusting. No, without further ado, Thick One walks out the car. And look what happens. Falling through the damn earth. Can I say right now? This is what I'm playing. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Oh, there you go. Foulball's in. This is bullshit.
Yo,
so it's unacceptable. CD Projekt Red. Hey man, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable.
My life. Oh shit, I've got you. I have to. Sorry.
Oh, so you granted, I got a cheap boss, but you see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna let this play for a little bit. But yeah, rant. Because I know it's gonna keep looping and it's gonna crash. Look what the fuck happened.
Sorry, I'm hearing some weird echo or something.
Oh, okay. You were not like you may have had me on that twice. Bullshit. But okay, that's basically bullshit. Me, and then it's just me ranting because I'm pissed.
You're showing your video. Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing you twice. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I was showing my video. Yeah, it doesn't work because you can't see me. So that was my video of me dying in Cyberpunk because I fell to the earth.
Oh, when you fell.
Yeah.
Dude, this is why I wanted to talk to you, man. I am straight up about to be like, this game sucks.
Really?
Honestly, dude, like I was playing. Okay, so I'm like, where am I like in the game? I'm like, I just did like fucking Jackie's funeral.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, who fucking gives a shit? Like they really made me sit through a funeral. Like I kind of care about the character, but like I'm not like that connected to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just find the game just kind of tedious and like empty. Like, why the hell are there dialogue like interaction options? You you just have to do what the story does. You don't have any, you can't affect anything. Like, why do you get to select? Why is there a dialogue tree option? Why? It's empty.
Yeah. See, that's what I've been wondering, because my whole point of my playthrough is to see if I can change something.
And I don't think that you can.
Oh man, that hurts the game in a like, okay, is this a No Man's Sky situation?
Bro, I'm starting to feel like it is, because this game was advertised, at least as far as I understood, as really open, where you could play it however you wanted. Like that was my excitement. I was like, oh, finally, like a tabletop type RPG where it's so open, you can really play it however you want. And honestly, I am really not getting that impression at all. And I'm like, I don't know, 6-7 hours in, and I'm like, that's a fair amount of time to get the taste of a game.
Yeah. Man, see that's worrying. So okay, like I saw that Jackie got killed, and like I said to anyone listening, spoilers for the game, and I was like, okay, can I prevent that? So my whole time is I'm trying to fuck Dex. Even that little scene, you had said to me in one of the streams, I can't remember if I could actually hack that card. So I think I have a save beforehand. I'm gonna try to go back. Hopefully I do try to hack that card to get the virus off. But I'm thinking, if I ride with Militech, maybe I can stop Dex, but it doesn't look like I can. If it looks like it's hard coded, Jackie has to die, and there's a rails for the story, and man, that's false advertising. And they've gotten so much crap for the bug situation. And this article talks about how they fail astronomically at launch, but set for massive success. And that the game is too big to fail, which is disgusting. But no one really talks about what they advertise not being there. Because, yeah, it is an immersive world. It's a pretty world, even on my PlayStation streams. My base PlayStation streams, it's a beautiful world to look at. But they did not give the customization options that I thought they would give. And as Foulball, as Matt mentioned, they have all these dialogue trees to make it seem like you can do something and make it seem like you have a lot of options. But in reality, everything is on rails.
Dude, like, honestly, I like false advertising. I think you nailed it. Like, it really feels like that. Because it's like the other thing that really irks me is how much other customization of like details that I don't really necessarily give a shit about yet. Like, all the customization options for your body and stuff, it's like infinite. Like, it's way too much. And there's so many side quests that I'm like, this is overwhelming. Like, I'll never, I literally have like I feel like 15 to 20 side quests right now. And like, I started off like, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to check off these like one by one down the list. Every time I play the game, all of a sudden I get all these new side quests that like weren't there before. And I'm like, oh, this is it's so much stuff, like so many details I don't care about, and almost none of the details I do care about.
So I haven't really done a side quest thing like that. I've done a couple, and then like I said, I did this quest, which I think is part of the main ones. But like, I think I think that's a what's the word, regenerating content. That's what I'm trying to say. Where they have the content where like you have a generic side quest giver, and the side quest can be kind of modulated. So maybe they're doing that sort of thing where they're like, oh, you can go back to the side quest and get 100,000 side quests. Fenrir, I appreciate it, dude. This is fun. I got to bounce. Good night and peace to you both.
Good night,
peace
man.
to you, man. Like I say, he's a talented dude. So maybe that's going on with the side quest though. They're doing the cheap thing.
They pretty much all feel pretty empty. I mean, side quests generally are, but it feels like, oh, go box, go get these cars for Dell, go to the shooting range and have a shoot contest. It's like, I mean, that's all fine, but really what this is starting to feel like to me is a really pale GTA, and it's like they've done like they fucked up things that GTA nailed 10 years ago. Like the driving mechanics suck.
Yes.
It's tedious as fuck. At first I thought it was just the fact that I was playing it on PC and like not the PS4, but then I was like, this is a game designed for PC. That shouldn't be a thing.
No, it shouldn't.
it's like I played GTA 5 on my PC. It's fine. I loved it.
Yeah,
I had a blast
I
with
have
it.
too.
And all the things that they did right, like that's the thing too, is I find myself in all those dialogue sequences bored as fuck. Like, honestly, man, I don't want to be like this because I'm an actor. What's up, Stone Cold? I'm an actor.
Jeremy.
I don't want to talk shit, but like, bro, I am really over that voice actress.
Really?
Over her, dude. She is so breathy. Everything is pushing, and Jackie died. It's like, right, like she's just overwrought, man. Like I don't love her, and it's like it's not like she's terrible, but when you're sticking with her for hours upon hours, she really starts to grate on my nerves, man. Like I really feel like they dropped the ball. I'm really starting to feel like this is overhyped. This is No Man's Sky. Like I don't want to be, because I was being very patient, but I swear the last 2 times I played it, I'm like, I don't care about any of the stuff you're putting me through.
Well, that's like, I'm glad you said that because I haven't really, no one's really said that. Everyone talks about the bugs, but I feel like, the bugs is everyone's focused so much on that everyone's missing everything else.
And that's it. I don't even give a fuck about the technical bugs. I mean, like, obviously I want my game to work, but one of my favorite games of all time is Fallout New Vegas. And that thing is about as buggy as it gets. Like that's a 10-year-old game that if you like, sometimes you'll get in these save loops where you can't even boot your game. Like they didn't even fix that bug. They just left it in. And it's like, I don't care. Like I still love it. Like the bugs are the least, that's the least of my concern when it comes to Cyberpunk. It's an empty experience so far. I'm not interested.
Man, see, I hadn't really played as much, and then after having that experience where, and I've had that experience in games, whenever you really are trying to get through a level, and then you get through it, and then something happens like that, it's like, so I don't even know what happened. I don't even know if the save is still alive or what. I just haven't even played. I may do a stream later on. I don't know. But I was sort of worried about that when I started to look at other streams and I just saw like a concrete story, and I didn't see like even the fact that the life's paths don't have different stories. I thought that the stories would be different.
Someone pointed that out. They're like, essentially you just have like a superficial, like 30-minute backstory that doesn't impact the story at all. And I was like, then why even have it?
Very good question.
It's like, yeah, like the only difference, I guess, because I'm corpo, I get like little corpo options in the dialogue trees once in a while. Or if I'm like, I have like a tech, every once in a while I can do like a cool dialogue option or something like that. But they seem to be cursory. They don't seem to matter. It's like you said, like you were just talking about, like, can you save Jackie? It's like, no. And maybe that's whatever. Like maybe that's just like they want that one storyline thing to happen, but it just feels like the whole game is like that. And that's not the point. It wasn't what was advertised to me, I thought.
No. Stone Cold Jeremy, oh man, I almost put the wrong link. I understand what you're saying as far as technical bugs, but did you see earlier? And I agree. Listen, if it was just some technical bugs, but they outright came up with an unplayable game that's not playable. Like
it's playable, but it's
wrong.
Basic. Like it's not like particularly interesting. Like, yeah, it's playable. It's fine. It's like you can play it. Like it looks great. But like I said, like there's certain, like when you're driving, like I said, like my PC is not that powerful. Like I'm playing it on I have like medium graphics.
What was that?
And stuff like that.
Just to show.
But it's like sometimes, man, I'm driving and like all of a sudden a car will just appear and I'll crash into it. It's like, that's not playable. You can't have stuff like that.
Stone Cold, man. I know, I love it. I understand this, but you tell me if this is acceptable. Is this acceptable at the end of a level and you can't save the game?
No!
Is that acceptable? And again, if we weren't lied to, if we weren't told you're not like other game companies, if we weren't told, as I didn't even get to, about this damn refund shit, where they you can just go get a refund, and of course it's not easy to actually get a refund. It's like they're doing unscrupulous shit, man.
I was honestly thinking about trying to get a refund because I'm kind of over it. Like I just don't find it that compelling. Like it just seems like way too much bullshit I don't care about. Like too many side quests, too much customization options of things I don't even understand yet. Like all the different, there's so much stuff. And then it's like Also, the other thing too is like I went to the Ripper dock and you can get like a new arm or whatever, but it's like so expensive. It's like 20,000, Euro dollars or whatever. Which I was like, all right, so I'm not like there's this huge gap between when I'm going to get enough money to do that, but then there's all this other stuff that like I am at the right level to get, but I can't wrap my head around yet. Like there's just so much things that I'm like, like I just feel like put off by the whole experience.
Yeah. See, a lot of that stuff, I haven't really got into the customization. Hell, I don't even know how to dress my character. I know how, but I mean, they look crazy.
Whatever the armor is.
Yeah. But I kind of am with you as far as the dryness of the game, because it doesn't really seem like there's much actually there as far as a gameplay feedback. And then I also understand what you're talking about as far as the stuff you don't matter, like the brain dance shit. Like I could not care less.
Didn't that go on forever and ever and ever?
Christ.
Like, it was so like, it was just so much, and it was like, it's kind of like would it have mattered? Like I guess you had to do it, but it's just kind of things where that's what I mean. Like you just have to walk through these things but you don't. It's not like if you didn't do it. Like you have to do these things. So it's not like if you miss one, it's going to make the mission harder or anything like that. Like there is no benefit to you going through the motions, but they just make you go through the motions. And you're like, well, why? Like you're telling me where the clue is, when, and I just have to go find it. And if I don't get that clue, I can't move the mission forward. So I like, why are you forcing me to just stay on this railroad, but give me the illusion of interaction? I don't understand it.
That's exactly what the game does. You put it spot on. It has you stay on the railroad with the illusion of interaction. And then with that brain dance, it was like there was one point where I'm supposed to look at his iPad, and I did at one point, but I didn't do it at the exact right time. So I'm fucking confused on what to do. And then I went right to that same spot, did it again, but it was at the right time and it worked. I'm like, okay, thank you.
And you're floating around this fucking room with like weird. Also, those mechanics I don't like at all. Like you can only move forward, so you have to like point the camera where you want. Like it doesn't feel comfortable, like floating around the room. No. So it's like, and you have to do that, and it's like why can't that be quick? Like why do I have to walk through that for like a half hour when it doesn't matter? Like I have no way to move the game forward if I don't do this. So why are you making me do it? Like what just do it. Just make it happen. Blah, 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 blah. Fix it. Like it's silly. It seems like a waste of my fucking time, man. I don't know.
I think one thing is and I've never played the tabletop game, but they definitely fell in love with the world of Cyberpunk, like a lot of the mechanics of it, which is a good thing. But they fell in love with it to a point where they just assumed that we just wanted to like we didn't actually want to play the game. You know what I mean? That we just wanted to see a bunch of cool stuff and that's a part of it, right? But I was very interested.
No, sorry, I mean, I like the visuals. Like, I mean, they're up to it, but I like the visuals a lot, but that's not a game. Like, I don't know. I just feel like most of the time I'm just sitting in fucking like really tedious dialogue sessions that I'm not interested in. Like, I'm not really connected with the circumstance in any kind of significant way. I can't impact the conversation at all. It's like they'll give you dialogue options and it's essentially the same thing. Like it's not even a dialogue option. Like it'll be like, who is he? Where is he? It's like that's not an option. I just have to say, like, why are you making me press a button to move this moment forward? Like, just make it a cinematic. Get me through this shit.
Yeah, I think I think they made a mistake by having voice actors at all, and even having character. You know what I mean? If they didn't have voice actors.
Why do you say that? I'm just curious.
So, okay, my thought is if you don't have voice actors, you don't have to record. When I say voice actor, I'm talking about for your protagonist. I should say that, make that specific.
I know what you're saying.
But you don't have to record so much dialogue, so therefore you can have the options a lot more open. Because everything you do,
I feel you. Yeah, like the Fallout option, like the way Fallout does it. Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, that's a great point. But dude, they must have. I mean, there's an endless amount of dialogue recording, so it's not like they didn't have the option to, like do it, like to record all those options because there's so much spoken dialogue in this game, so much.
Yeah. To Stone Cold Jeremy's point, I know my very first stream that I did, I went about 2 hours, had no problems, and I'm a base PS4 player. But then when I started getting more streams, had more bugs. But yeah, the dialogue options it's funny when I very first played it, or when I started playing it, I got excited about the dialogue options because I thought they would be more consequential. I thought that was impacting stuff. But yeah, I remember the very first because I was watching somebody stream and they chose a nomad and they had their little dialogue options, and I thought that their dialogue was the reason they got chased by the corporals or whatever at the border. But no, that was just a scripted event. It was railroads. There was nothing they could have done to avoid that. And it's like, if there are no options I can do to avoid things, this is not an RPG.
Can you click on Jeremy's comment there?
Okay, I didn't even see it. Bad. Also, there hasn't really been a true RPG type video game. The closest we had is Detroit, because it always comes back to Detroit Become Human, where the decision actually affects the outcome. Yeah, that is an RPG to me.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was expecting from this game.
And that game is one really interesting game because there's like no real action. Like, you don't shoot anybody, you know what I mean? It's all just kind of like weird little choices in the moment. Like, it's not like there's straight up combat. Like, it's kind of, but not really. Like, it's more just you making these weird kind of, but it was an incredibly immersive experience. Like, I didn't need all that. Like, I didn't need to control the car to get from A to B. I don't care that we just go. Who gives a shit how we get there? I don't need that, like, the tactile experience of driving a car. No, it was just, and it was so articulate in its storytelling. Like, you move that story and you really go through it. And then, like, here's a great example. Like, when the first mission you get, when you're whatever his name is, like the really handsome white kid, you know, like who's like the cop guy, you know, in that game, when he's like the detective on the scene, he like, there's clues. If you miss clues, it affects the outcome of that moment, right? Yeah. That's not like that in this game. You don't have those ways of impacting the story or making mistakes or failing. But I also want to say, Jeremy, I don't know if you've ever played the Fallout series, man, but the Fallout New Vegas is a complete RPG. Like, you can go straight evil in that game if you want. You can just be greedy and kill whoever you want and take things, and then like the game adapts to that, and like you can like choose to side with whatever faction you want by the end of the game. You can turn Vegas into your own personal empire, or you can side with Caesar, who wants to enslave everybody, or you can help the California Republic that like wants to kind of create this, like, you know, unstable democracy. You have a lot of options of how you want to play that game. And like, the idea that they put all this time and all this work and all this money and all this hype, and it's just kind of a buggy railroady game with like unsatisfying combat sequences. Like, I don't even understand the point.
Yeah. And I'm not somebody who necessarily, like, I was almost playing this for a Fallout-esque experience. You know what I mean? That's what I was sort of expecting. Yeah, me too. So I didn't, in the same sense that the combat's okay in Fallout, but that's not what you're there for. That's
not why you're there. And you have the VAT system to kind of balance it out.
And that's what I was expecting, something similar instead of maybe the cyberpunk, the hacking system being the equivalent. But that's not.
Can I ask you this?
Go ahead.
That's okay, Stone Cold. It's just, as far as an RPG goes, as far as having multiple outcomes, Fallout is a great example. Like, if for me, the Fallout games that matter are Fallout 1, 2, and New Vegas. Those are the ones that are really interesting to me. The other ones feel more just like action shooters and shit like that. They're fine, but like 1, 2, and New Vegas are really immersive RPGs where you affect the story and you have dialogue options and shit like that. Fuck though, I forgot I was going to say, you just tapped on something I wanted to get into. What did you?
I was talking about. I know it's something that had to do with the dialogue options. Sorry, I was trying to get something out of my throat.
It's all good.
But just the fact that this experience is not an RPG, and it's like, what is this experience?
What is this experience?
It's not a shooter.
No,
you know what I mean.
Not like a Call of Duty shooter where it's just like hordes of enemies after one after the other, or like Half-Life. You know, it's not quite that, because you can kind of avoid combat if you want.
Yeah. Which I like. I mean, I like doing a little stealth.
I don't mind that. I like that that's an option, and I like that it's not an option. That's kind of cool.
That is cool. I think.
I remember what I was going to say. Go ahead. I was going to say, how are you feeling about like combat, like in general, especially when it comes to strategy? Like, my impression about this game was that you could really run this like combat scenarios from a very unique point of view if you want. Like if you wanted to basically not even do any kind of combat, like you could kind of like manipulate this here, manipulate that, and just stealth your way around the whole thing. Or if you wanted to, like distract these guys or blow this up to like weaken the enemies and stuff. My personal experience has not been that. Like my experience with combat has been very difficult. Like maybe I can do one little hacking thing to turn off a camera or something like that. But generally, like I still feel like I've ended up fighting the entire horde of guys anyway, no matter what I do.
Yeah. So the very first tutorial, I consider a tutorial level, I was able to get through with stealth, which was good because my shooting was pretty shitty. And I thought that was cool. Hard. It's hard, but it was cool that I was able to get through that with stealth. And I actually was non-lethal the whole time. So I felt like cool that I was able to get through this with stealth non-lethally. So I'm like, cool, this is going to give me the options that I want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then when I got to the all fools level, started trying doing every option. I didn't know about the hacking the card beforehand. So hopefully I still had to say to do that. But when I actually got, the shit hit the fan, I have to fight out with these guys. I tried everything. So my best option, the way I got to the boss, was just running and gunning, not caring if I killed anyone.
Right.
If they were in my face.
Sorry, what difficulty are you playing on?
Just normal. I'm not even playing hard.
I thought, and I had a similar thing too with that game, like that mission you're talking about, and it was this run and gun thing, and I was like, the game didn't penalize me for just running through everybody.
No, it did not.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like that's weird. Like I shouldn't just be able to run through this whole thing. And then at the end, like I'm playing on hard difficulty. At the end, if you like buy the what's that thing called? Whatever, the spider bot, which looks so fucking cool. And I'm like, why don't I get to use the fucking spider bot?
That would have been cool if I was able to use it at the second half of the mission or whatever.
And you can't. Like the only time you get to do it is you like point it towards, or make it go to the camera thing. I was like, I want to drive this thing up a wall and kill somebody with it.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. But so like, so basically what ends up happening is I like gave the guy the Militech money because I got rid of the virus. So he took it. But then you have to fight Militech anyway. So it's like, you just switch enemies, but then like Militech like swarms the place and then you run through, you're shooting all these bad guys, blah, blah, blah. And then by the end, there's these two mechs, like the two like mech soldiers, and you have to kill both of them. And bro, I was like not equipped to handle that. And for some reason, not only did I not die, but like we were able to beat them like pretty handily. And I was like, really? Like I was able to run through all the bad guys and it was like, they weren't even, it just felt unsatisfying. Like I just feel like that's the word I keep going back to. This game just feels unsatisfying.
It's really unfinished. That's really the issue. And I think they had, I'm sick of people giving them a pass because they are enjoying their experience. It's one thing to say I'm having fun with this game, but you can't ignore certain things that they did that just shows that this was really the whole project. I'm not gonna say the whole project, but at some point this became a smarmy money grab.
And the thing too is that it's built upon credibility.
Yes.
If this was EA, if this was someone else, we'd be like, all right, we kind of got duped. But this is CD Projekt Red. Like they only have a few games and they're beloved. And so you think and also this game is built on all this lore. There's so many, comic books and tabletop games. There's so much built into this, and they're taking so much time with it. You're like, wow, this is gonna be the next game. It'd be like if Martin Scorsese's like working on like some gangster. You're like, yeah, that's gonna be good. Like he's got the credibility to make it. Of course, it's gonna be good. And the fact that it's not only is it not like good, it's actually like so far for me a huge disappointment.
Yeah, I cannot disagree with that. I mean, like I said, I have my issues with technical stuff, but I don't really care for like when it works that it has all this potential. But you said something earlier that I think does apply. It is really a GTA clone in a way. You know what I mean? It is really like
a pale one at that.
Yeah. And it's like, man, we already have GTA 5.
And it's an amazing game. And like how the voice acting in that game is like fucking god tier.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so funny. And like those dialogue scenes, like they're so seamless, like they flow so well. I feel like in this game, every fucking time I move, I'm getting a new phone call from somebody that I don't care about, giving me some new mission, talking about some shit I could care. Like, oh, I'm Padre so-and-so. Come see me after. It's like, Jesus, there's zero immersion here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I tried to hold back like because I wasn't sure at first. I was like, there was a moment there where I was really into it. Like when you go and do that mission, right? The one you're talking about. Like I was like, this is fun. Like I like this. I had a blast. I like the different options. The way I made it work, that was cool. And now I'm just after that, it's like there's just been so much fucking dialogue. And also, I feel like a scene completely ripped off of Detroit Become Human is when you climb out of the trash heap.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's exactly
yeah.
It's the same exact storyline, the exact same story beat. You get shot in the head and then you wake up in a fucking trash heap and you have to like crawl your way out. It's like the exact same experience. Like, you just stole that. Thank you, sir.
I agree. I'm enjoying the game, but I do realize the unfinished product it should have been delayed. Yeah, and I've already covered. My theory is they didn't delay it because it got to the point where they wanted it to be released before Christmas, and they wanted it to be released in 2020 for their fiscal purposes. They were able to go in the black just off the pre-orders. So,
well, what could you have done though if you had another, let's say, 6 months with it? Like, you're not going to re-record all this new dialogue, are you? I mean, is that how they would handle it? Like, but then you'd have to rewrite the game if you're going to give it all these new storyline options that aren't there. So you'd have to start almost from scratch. You know, like the bugs are one thing. I don't even care. Like I said, the bugs are the least of my concerns. I don't even give a fuck about the bugs. But it's things that like the false advertising are what get me. Like it was sold like the NPCs are going to be so vivid and lifelike. You're going to feel like they can go anywhere and they've got storylines. No, they don't. Most of them just stand around saying the same shit over and over. And if you look at any of them, your immersion is immediately destroyed because they're so awkward the way they move. And like, there's a scene when you're talking to Takamura at the diner, there's a guy eating a burger and he doesn't move it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, this is so, and he's right in my eye line. He's right in the next booth. It's like, I wouldn't even care about that if you didn't make it a thing that it's supposed to be a feature of the game. Like I would never even notice that. But you were the one who bragged about it. You're the one who made it sound like this was going to be so immersive and so big. And now I'm like, I'm standing there seeing every single detail you said was going to be so great. Fucking isn't.
Yeah. And they're the ones who said, leave the greed to the other companies. But I mean, I don't think that's what they did. I think they took some of that greed themselves. I think, like I said, partway through, probably when they first, from the first delay on, they knew they weren't going to really deliver what they advertised. And they knew that they weren't sure about the bugs, but I think they knew, you know what, we said we have all this immersive stuff. We put 8 years into this, but we really just have just another sandbox game that's pretty. And it has a lore to it.
Yeah. But I don't know about you. I found myself not giving a fuck about the lore after a while. Like I stopped reading those little data shards you pick up. I stopped caring about any of that.
So I mean, I was kind of into it, but after that crash, I just got so fed up. But I haven't really given it another try.
It's just too much is my problem. It's just too much. There's too many things. Every time you walk into a place, there's 6 data shards. And it's like, I mean, if I can organically experience some of this, like, like the world, I'll bring back Fallout, like Nuka-Cola, like stuff like that is part of the fabric of that world. And you don't really need to, it doesn't need to be forced down your throat to experience. You don't need to read like something of some kind of stilted, backstory about something. Like it's all delivered to you because playing it's like when you're playing, like, did you ever have to read a pamphlet about ammunition in GTA 5, GTA anything? It's like no,
you just got it.
But yeah, you just got and you totally get the vibe of that place, that it's like a psychotic like Second Amendment store. And also I think them calling the gun shop Second Amendment is a ripoff of ammunition a little bit. I think they're trying to be cheeky and cute there.
Yeah, I would think about that.
I don't know. This feels like a dud. It just honestly feels like a fucking dud, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't like feel it was true. I'm not trying to be the edgy guy with the contrary opinion. Like it feels like a dud.
So I mean, I am happy to just kind of be in the world a little bit because I do think it's pretty, but it doesn't really. It's a very shallow experience. It's a very surface level experience, and it's a very railroaded experience. And that's to me, the railroading is the ultimate sin for this game. I think everything else is forgivable if I had, if I could impact the story, because that's what you could do in The Witcher. And so that's where I was going in with the expectations that I would have that similar level of ability to impact the narrative.
Dude, The Witcher is such an elegantly constructed game. I didn't get into it too much because honestly, I found it to be difficult to a level where I wasn't having fun, but that was just personal. Like I remember I tapped out when I was like, to just kill this one wraith, I had to go like get like a potion, but in order to get a potion, I had to get like 3 different ingredients and then make that potion and then put it on my sword. And then there was all this stuff. And it was like, and if I die, I have to kind of do all that over again. And I was like, this is too much. I can't, this can't be my whole life. But it was just, that was the only reason. It wasn't because I didn't think it was a really fleshed out world. It is. And the dialogue scenes in that were other level, because the dialogue you're having, first of all, the voice acting is great. But when they're having these back and forths, they move the camera like you're on a TV show.
Yeah.
So you're immersed in the story. You're not just tediously sitting there waiting for it to end. It's like you are in the story, and it'll do like reverses and go to the other guy responding. Like it really was elegantly constructed.
Yeah. And
there's none of that here. None of that here. Nothing.
No, it really isn't. And I'm not sure if something like that is something they could have maybe, with the camera. I think that if that's something they could have done within 6 months.
Can't hurt. I mean, you're right. That's a good point.
Like, cause there are simple things like that little bits of polish like that could have helped with the immersion. Like, I think the most immersive thing is just walking around the world because of the way it looks. That's probably the most immersive thing you can do in this game.
I will give them credit. The world looks amazing.
Yeah,
because it's such a great backdrop. Like, it's just a shame that they didn't do anything interesting with it, because it's so pretty and it does seamlessly generate. I have not any I don't see any like pixel buildings in the background. Like, that's the thing. I feel like they put everything into stuff like that, that's something, but that's not a game.
Yeah, they put a lot into Night City. They definitely did.
A lot
to building into the city, and they put that's probably where the bulk of that 8 years was spent, into building the city.
I think so. Yeah.
But as far as go ahead.
I don't know how much you've gotten into it. I haven't really gotten into it too much, but the skill trees are really detailed and thorough. There's a lot of skill tree options.
I haven't gotten into it, and that's something with myself. I almost felt like with this playthrough, I'm going to know so little of how things are going on or what's going on. So with the skill tree, it's almost overwhelming because there's so much stuff. So I don't even know.
That's exactly how it's overwhelmed. I pointed out, I want to keep harping on the same points, but that's the thing. Like, it's overwhelming how many details are in certain areas, and completely underwhelming how little details are in other things. And it's like, it's just completely imbalanced.
Yeah, that is a very good word. There's an imbalance in the attention to detail. Uh-oh. Hail to Nick.
What up, Nick?
There are 2 flavors of Nick Weiser.
What up, brother?
Panelists, hail to you.
Hail to you.
Hail to the chat.
Hail to the chat, of course.
Yes,
always hail to the chat.
We love you guys for sticking with us.
Damn right.
But yeah, unbalanced. That's really that's the word that I would use to describe this, where there's a lot of detail in certain things, and a lot of work that shows in certain things, and then a lack of detail in others. I mean, I almost feel like the lack of polish even was probably that, like, because some of the stuff, for it to not be optimized for like high-end PCs, that's kind of ridiculous.
That's terrible PR for your game.
And it's like, my brother even said that they test this outside the engine, or did you know what I mean? Did they ever port it to anything before releasing it?
Yeah, I think I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, because it does feel like they just they didn't test it on anything. Like, all right, it runs an engine, and we'll just hope when we port it all works.
It's a staggering disappointment. I mean, I want to be optimistic and be like, oh, maybe I'll get into it. Maybe I'll find interest in it. But I honestly feel like they already blew it for me. Like if I'm this far into the game and I'm not that interested, that's a mistake. That you guys failed a little bit. Like how can that be? You know, like I don't know. Like I wanted to like this game. Like I'm not like a hater. Like I didn't walk into this and be like, I'm gonna fucking no. Everyone thinks this is good. I'm gonna show them how stupid it is. I'm the prime audience for this game. Like RPGs set in a cyberpunk universe, bro. I couldn't have come up with a better idea, a better concept. And I'm looking at like it's loaded on my PC next to me, and I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, man, what a bummer. Nothing about it fun.
Yeah, I got to give it another try to see if I quite come up to that determination. But I mean, I'm close to there because the dialogue thing really bothers me. To have dialogue, because that was something I was really like looking forward to, and being able to think out what my character is like and have that play out. Like
Have you ever played Fallout New Vegas?
I had a friend that had it, and I played a little bit of that, but I didn't really like, get super into it. But it looked kind of cool. I mean, the whole RPG, like you said, having your own, like having consequences to your options. I do like games that have that.
Dude, it is, because that's the thing. I think I was pointing that out. Whoever I was talking to, and I was just saying like, I was talking to Jake. We were doing a Howling with Entertainment the other day. Like when you. In the first mission in Fallout New Vegas, the first real mission you get, which is just like, and you're only playing the game for maybe an hour, maybe like you're doing like, you have to kind of, you got to find out who killed you. Like that's the first thing you get tasked with. And that like drives all the events of the story, which is interesting, you know, cause like this robot like digs you out and like this doc puts you back together. And so you're in the town and this girl gives you like a training mission. There's a few like minor missions, but nothing much just to get the XP up. But the first real mission you get is like, there's this guy like he's holed up in like the gas station, and these powder gangers are after him, you know, and you have a choice right then and there to help the powder gangers or to help the guy hold up. So if you help the guy hold up, you help the town, you help him. If not, you help the gangsters, and you can become like a gangster, more powerful. They like that faction gets on your team. Right there, you have an option, and the outcome matters because people in the town will die. Your karma will go up and down, like how people view you. Your status with the faction of the powder gangers has like immediate impact, because if you help them, then they're your buddies. If not, they're your enemies for the rest of the game. And it's like, it matters, and those things all impact the story. Like, granted, there's only so many storylines you can play through all the way through, but I mean, your decisions have weight; they matter, and it's like you feel in control of your character. You feel like you're actually walking through this world, impacting it as you go. And for an RPG, I mean, anything short of that is a failure.
I agree, especially when, I mean, what an RPG is in 2020 should be more defined, because it's not like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we've had too many games. Experience is not an RPG element anymore. Experience and leveling up is basic.
Every goddamn thing's got skill trees and fucking leveling up. I mean, every mobile game has that, but I mean that's not an RPG.
That's become a part of the greater game lexicon. That's like saying just because you had 808s it's hip hop. Like, no, everyone uses it now. It's too late.
Yeah, like Deus Ex is an example. The original Deus Ex, one of my favorite games from 2000, is a game that, like, I mean, you do have some choices. You do get choices, but not too many. But what they do, where that like isn't that, like, you don't have that much control of your character. Like, you still have to kind of follow the story as it goes. They don't keep you in these dialogues for very long. Like, they're short, quick, to the point, and then you get back to moving throughout the world and the action and playing the game, so that you don't get bogged down in these meaningless, endless dialogue sequences that are going to end the same no matter what you do. It's like, well, then why put me through this? They don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm almost thinking about what Joseph Anderson said about Fallout 4, where he had the I'm not sure, he's like he's a reviewer and stuff of games. Has these really long form reviews. But on his review of Fallout 4, he had this mod that showed you what the dialogue trees actually said. And it showed that most of the trees really led to the same response or very similar responses. Yep. So you really didn't have much option.
Fallout 4 is not a Fallout game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And that's similar thing here. I've actually kind of compared it to the release of Fallout 4 as far as the bugs and the...
You think about Fallout 4, though, that's the most successful game in that entire franchise.
Not shot.
By a long shot. Like it's huge. That's why everything else that follows is just corporate bullshit. Like, Fallout 76, because they're like, oh my God, we got a gold mine on our hands. But to me, it's not a Fallout game. I mean, I played, I don't know, 10, 15 hours, and I was like, I'm fucking out. This is boring. Like, there's no story. Like you said, you don't affect the outcome. It's just, and there's just a billion side quests that have no bearing on the game. Like, the Fallout game has been like, it's hard for me to say this now because I grew up with like the games. Like, I grew up with Fallout 1 and 2, but like I play them now and they are like, pull up some Fallout 1 images.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
It's very like, the graphics are big. It's like a PS1 graphics maybe. But I find it just as immersive and compelling as the first time I played it. Like, the story is what moves that game, and it gives you options. Yeah, like, look at that. I mean, like, that is that's dated, but it's still compelling and interesting and fun because the mechanics are there. Like, they knew what they wanted to do, and then you have you can do different playthroughs. You can fuck over everybody if you want. You can become a villain. You can help the bad guys. It's up to you, and like, that is what makes those games so immersive because your decisions have an impact. And it's fascinating and it's fun. And it's like the idea that they nailed it in like whatever this was, 97, 96. This was that progressive. And they're releasing what are called RPGs, which essentially have no impact. Like, you're not role-playing shit. It's an illusion. Why? I'm babbling.
Yeah. No, you're right though. And I think that's the main issue. Because that's what makes it an RPG. Because again, skill trees are that's common now. It's not 97 where you had a skill tree, maybe you're an RPG. No. You have to let me play a role. You need to give me the option and the control over what happens in this game. And one thing I did want to make sure I covered is the fucking refund thing. Because
Gail, let me know what's going on.
Okay, so they came out. You remember they had this thing where they talked about, please ask for a refund. It's not as easy as The Verge would tell you to get a Cyberpunk 2077 refund as CD Projekt Red suggested. Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red has confirmed that it has no special refund agreement with Microsoft or Sony, despite saying dissatisfied players should return their copies of the game in a statement. So basically, when they said return the copies, they just... hey, you can try to return them and see what happens. Basically, they had no agreement with Microsoft or any of the retailers or Sony.
Look at that. In the case of Sony, explicitly prohibits refunds if you've already started playing
the game unless the content is faulty, which it actually is, as I actually showed.
Yeah, but what they mean is you can't play it.
Yeah, I know.
Literally, like, it won't load is what they're getting at. But it's like, wait, no, if I buy this product that like I was planning on spending 100 hours or more playing, and I get 10 and I'm like, this sucks. I can't get a refund. I can't get anything. Like, really? Like,
yeah,
that's dirty, man. It's like, you know what? Your PR for maybe ever will be destroyed because this could be the most hyped game in history.
It could be. And then here's the real grimy part. The confirmation came from the company's senior vice president of business development, Michael Nowakowski, on an investor call held on Monday evening, where he said Microsoft and Sony have refund policies for every product that has released digitally on their storefronts. Despite several articles that I've seen, things that are being set up just for us is actually not true. These policies are in place and have always been. They're not offered specifically for us. So basically, even though, this is what he said to the investors. This is what the senior VP of business development said to the investors. Like, hey, I know what these articles are talking about, but there's nothing special for us. Then why the fuck did you say it?
What about Steam? Because I bought it on Steam. I mean, I'm probably not going to return it, but I mean, I might. I don't know. Like, it depends on how, like, because it's such an unsatisfying game. Like if honestly, like, let's just say I wasn't a YouTuber and I didn't want to come on and talk about it, right? Like, I'm just an objective consumer at home and I'm just playing it, just for enjoyment. I would want my money back. Like, I wouldn't want to play. Like, I'd be like, this is, first of all, I probably wouldn't have bought it right away. And I probably would have never bought it when I heard all the negative reviews. But I wanted to be in the conversation. And I was so hyped for this fucking game, man. I probably wouldn't play it. Like, there's a game that came out last year called, oh shit, what's it called? I got it right here. Fuck, I can't think of it now, but it was like this space RPG. It was the same thing. It was written by some of the people who wrote the original Fallout games, which I was like, fuck yes. And it was built as this RPG where you could play it however the hell you wanted. It's set in this really cool space environment, but it has like this kind of like 1920s motif over everything. It's really clever, really interesting world building. But once you get into it, you realize, no, it's just another fucking shooter with skill trees. There's no real RPG element to it at all.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, would you stop lying to me? Get my hopes up?
Nick Wise with the hot take question. Which is more controversial, The Last of Us 2 or Cyberpunk?
Wow.
That's a question and a half, isn't it? Because that's not it.
That's not easy to answer.
That is not easy to answer.
Because it's like, how do you look at that? Oh, Outer Worlds is the game I was talking about. Outer Worlds. Okay. Which superficially is a really good game, but it's just didn't deliver on its advertising.
And this is the statement that Cyberpunk released before. And does it have the same? Yeah, it does have the same jackass, Michael Nikowski. This guy right here is the same jackass who told the execs, "Oh no, there's nothing to worry about." It says, look at this shit. We want everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchases. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you're not pleased with the game on the console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy. And then the same asshole goes right to the damn board in an investor call and says, despite what the articles are saying, that things are being set up just for us, it's not true. Like, that's misleading as fuck.
So is he contradicting himself completely? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what he's doing is
what he's saying
word
is that
choice.
He's saying, like, yeah, you can refund it if they'll let you.
Basically, yeah.
That's dark. I don't like that.
He is using word choice. But here's the thing. There is this should this not be possible where you can't get a refund, contact the Help Me Refund at CD Projekt Red, and we will do our best to help you. So, and I guess that hasn't really meant much. So it's just unscrupulous bullshit.
Yeah, like, I almost want to fucking get rid of this game just because, like, I'm like, I know I don't like it already. Like, I don't feel like I'm gonna suddenly discover that I find it interesting because, the combat kind of sucks. I'm not finding that to be fun. Hey, you know what? The cover system, buggy as fuck.
Yeah,
it
is.
Sucks. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Other games have nailed this. When you play GTA, you press Q, I think, and you drop into cover, and then you can aim and go back into cover, and then you can, like, swip off it or whatever. And, like, that Red Dead 2's got that nailed. Perfect. This, you have to just kind of approach cover, and then sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not, and there's no, like, you can't press a button to make it happen. It just sort of clicks naturally, and then you kind of, like, peek around the corner, but it's buggy. It doesn't really work the way it should work. And motherfucker, how many headshots do you have to get to kill an enemy?
Holy shit, the headshot thing pisses me off.
Especially
because, again, I'm not a good shot, so when I get a headshot, it's like, cool.
Great. I'm like, got him. Like, nope. That was one little piece of his health. It's just like, I gotta have him like 8 headshots to kill one enemy.
Yeah. And then
it's not like a lot of ammo.
Yeah, I was just about to say bullets. I'm gonna run out of bullets.
Have you progressed in the game? Like, did you do the Keanu Reeves flashback thing?
I saw it, but I didn't do it yet.
In that, you get a really powerful gun. So you get to kind of feel what it's like to be like a really high level character. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. I mean, I guess like the storyline, like objectively, is kind of an interesting one. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I want you to experience it as you do. But like, it's just so bloated with other shit it doesn't need that it really dilutes what's good about it.
Yeah. Go to the chat because Nick Weiser asks, which is more controversial, Last of Us 2 or Cyberpunk?
I'm going to step away for just a second, but go on to it, man. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay. Well, Stone Cold Jeremy said that's an easy question for me. Last of Us 2 was total trash. Mainly how Joel was treated in the identity politics. And then it says they may have financial pressure or bad management, but Last of Us 2 was deliberately raising the middle finger. But I think the Keanu gun was OP. I think this is also deliberately raising the middle finger, not for identity politics, but this is saying you're a stupid gamer. We put a bunch of hype. We will sell you this and you will buy it. Consume. This you know what I think? These assholes are no different than Disney. These assholes are no different than every other company. They're no different than Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy telling you how data-driven whatever it is helps consumers consume. That's what I think these guys at CD Projekt Red is. Now, it's up to you to determine whether that's a bigger middle finger than the one that Cuckman gave you with The Last of Us 2. So, oh, man. Part of me says The Last of Us 2 kind of for the same reason Anthroparian says. It's that deliberate raising the finger, right?
I was just going to bring that up. I was just going to say Cyberpunk could be incompetence, whereas Last of Us 2 was malice.
Yeah.
And that's a significant difference because like this could just be something that they fucked up. Like it suffered from like a lack of vision or lack of understanding of what kind of game they're trying to make. Because sometimes I get that too. I'm like, wow, this has elements from like Red Dead. It's got elements from this, elements from that. It's like, it's got so many things in the kind of, I'm like, okay, that seems like a lot. So it's almost like that could be it. Whereas Last of Us 2 knew exactly what it was. And it was like, fuck you. We don't care what you like.
I guess, like I said, I still think of this as a middle finger and something malicious. But it wasn't. It wasn't at its core malicious. Like to me, like you said, I think there was a point in development where they said, "Shit, we're trying to do so much, and we got so much time, we got so much money, we have to start making decisions. We got to get this shit finished." And from that point on, they had a malicious plan in place to get it out before the end of this year, come hell or high water. But I consider that malicious, but I don't know if it's as malicious as saying, "Hey, this character that you care about, fuck you." That there's something a little like more anger inducing at that, even if they're scamming us with this. And I mean, there's fun elements of Cyberpunk. It could be, it still can be a great game. I think that's a huge difference.
That's see, I don't know about that. Like,
yeah, you said no because the linear,
it doesn't have any vision. Like it doesn't know what it is. It's trying to be everything, and therefore it's nothing. Like it doesn't have an RPG strong thing. The action gunplay is not that interesting. The skill trees are convoluted and way too numerous. There's too many customization items to the point where you don't even look at it. Like in your inventory, you can like break down weapons and then you get all these weapon components and up, but it's like, it's just so many details about things. I don't even know if I care about this game long enough to get that. You know what I'm saying? So it's diluted. It's watered down. But the thing is, what I read was their next plan was to have an online version of this game.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how fucking buggy and broken that will be?
That will be Fallout 76.
Absolutely.
And do you how can you trust them when that comes out?
I won't. Because I don't now. Like they've destroyed my trust.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm still gonna try to play. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen if you try to refund it. When I looked at this article, it says like Steam, I think they may be a little bit lenient, but apparently Steam only has like a 2-hour
I'm past that.
play. Yeah. but I feel like Steam is just in general a little bit cooler. They kind of have a reputation, so they may or may not.
Maybe
I would check it out if you.
I don't know.
If you
I might.
really,
I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna like stick with it and destroy it on my channel. Like I think I'd rather just eviscerate what they did wrong instead of like like just be like, yeah, I'll take the money back. Like no, you guys fucked up way bigger than this. Like
yeah,
I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world, but like my feelings are hurt here. Like I had I had a lot wrapped up in this, a lot of hope. So I'm out not just the $60, but also like, damn it, man, I thought this was gonna be the game.
yeah.
It's not even a game.
No. Nick says, "See the mask, see the mask." I actually had the mask on, and my camera shit the bed.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had the mask on, had everything going, and then my camera just went out. And I'm like, oh, I guess there it goes. So I don't know what the hell happened with that. I probably have to restart my computer. But another thing with me is I can't remember the last time I bought a game at launch for this very reason.
Every time I do, I'm disappointed. Well, that's not
fucking that.
But that happened with me on Outer Worlds. I bought it at launch. Same thing. I was all pumped because it's advertised the same way. Open world, RPG, make up your own way of playing. The second you don't put your skill points into shooting in that game, it just makes it hard to play. So you have to just play. It's just like, then why advertise that? Why?
Yeah, I hate when the games have something that you have to put your skill points towards something just for it to be functional. It's like, well, then make it just functional off rip, and then make my skill points go towards things that I might want otherwise.
Yeah, or like don't even have fucking skill tree shit then. Like if it's not gonna matter, like if I'm putting it all into combat anyway, then just let me progress by getting better guns or something. Like that model worked for years. Like there's no reason to fuck with it. Like Call of Duty, it works fine. Those are some of the most successful games on the planet. You don't need to fuck with it if it doesn't work. Why? I don't get it. Like, it's like they want to have their cake and eat it too, but you're disappointing your customers, man.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. Like, what do you get? Like street cred for putting skill trees in your game? Like,
yeah, I think I think that just became a trend. The skill trees and the RPG elements. So they just, it's a game. It has to have this, just like it has to have menus. Like it's just a part of the game industry.
It's built on an RPG though. Like it's tabletop game, man. There's like character sheets and dice and shit.
Yeah, and that's what I was hoping for. Is that's the biggest thing for me outside of the bugs, which obviously pissed me off, is the lack of dialogue options or the lack of the impact of dialogue options.
I recommend you go play New Vegas. I think you'll get the satisfying experience that you want as far as like being able to impact the world. Your decisions will have consequences. Like like I said, it's buggy and the combat mechanics are what they are, but the game works. Like they don't need to be fluid and perfect. Like if you know how to, once you get comfortable with it, it's a game you can play and it's fun you can do whatever you want. You can like loot dungeons and get everything you want, or you can like move through the story, or you can focus on side quests. It's up to you. And I think either way, it's a satisfying experience.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for from Cyberpunk. Nick says no in slow motion.
Yep.
All right, I feel like we've ranted quite a bit about Cyberpunk.
Here.
So I was actually going to basically kind of wrap up the podcast, and if you want to stick around, you can. Because what I usually do, I like ending on like positive news, positive news stories. I talked about it earlier. My very first thing on this channel was a positive news podcast, and positive news got too political, so I just said, "Fuck it! If I'm going to talk about politics, I might as well just start talking about politics."
I was listening to you say that. I thought that was pretty funny. You're just like, all of the best intentions. You're like, fuck it, fuck everything. God damn it, I'm gonna burn it down again.
Yeah. So but it's good. We just bitched about Cyberpunk, and I bitch about everything else. But it's good to remember. You know what? There are still cool people doing cool things for each other.
Here.
So this one, a veteran who is 93, is whittling walking sticks to raise money for a local food pantry. 93-year-old veteran in Ohio is whittling walking sticks to raise money for his local food pantry. John Hobson is a retired Air Force colonel who's been staying busy in 2020 by making walking sticks for those in need. He sells his walking sticks for $3 each at the end of his driveway in Xenia, Ohio, where he lives with his family of one of his 4 sons. All the proceeds from his sales go to the Xenia area fish food pantry. So far, he's made over 100 walking sticks and donated around $650 to the pantry.
That's awesome.
But he had there was more to it. He says he's a sweet man that gives a darn about folks who just don't have anything. His son said makes him feel good, but with the attention, because it kind of got big locally, he sold out of his walking sticks, and then they set up a GoFundMe, and
That's
apparently
great.
they have raised $6,500 in less than 48 hours. So actually, let me link to the GoFundMe in case anybody here. Actually, there are nine racks now.
Wow,
so cool.
That's great. He fucking murdered that goal.
Yeah. He started off with a $500 goal, and he got multiple times that. So this is why I'm not sure if anyone in the chat can, but if you want to, just go ahead and toss that out, because this is the positive stuff, the cool stuff that humans still do. It's easy to forget that we still care about each other. But you see, this 93-year-old man, he came up with this little walking stick thing and was able to raise money for the food pantry. We know a lot of people are struggling, so this is just a cool story.
I was streaming with Draco earlier, and then we start because we're talking about The Expanse. Because the first 3 episodes of this new season of The Expanse are amazing.
Yeah, I've heard, and I keep wanting to get into The Expanse because everyone, I've not heard anything negative said about it yet.
There's nothing to say. It's perfect. But it's excellent. But the thing is, we don't know what it's going to be. And, we all listen to Gary, and he's so insightful, and it's we're all concerned, hey man, is this going to be woke? Is it going to be, intersectional? Is it going to live out? Is it going to be as consistent as it's always been? Are they going to take another thing from us? Are they going to, it's and so it's anxiety. And so we were talking about that in the beginning of the stream. It was something we were focusing on this, and then at some point, eventually we were just and by Draco's behest, is just to be positive. This was good. Let's focus on the positive. If we dwell on the negative all the time, it's you're almost going to get that back. That, you know what I mean? It's almost, you're putting that out, you're going to get it back. So it's it's important to focus on the positive. Mention the negative, but focus on the positive.
Definitely. And that's kind of the energy behind ending my podcast on positive notes, because I cover, this one's entertainment, so it's a little light. I mean, we're talking about cyberpunk, we're pretty passionate, but some stuff I've covered has been pretty dark, and just to have something like a palate cleanser at the end of the show, so everyone can kind of leave with a smile. A couple more stories, and then we're going to get out of here. This one, everyone nowadays, police, to me, you shouldn't be, police aren't controversial. You need police. Orlando police officers donate and deliver Christmas gifts to hundreds of kids in need. Police officers in Orlando surprised more than 200 children in need with Christmas presents on Saturday. And I have a soft spot for this. If I see toys for tots or coats for kids, I always try to give them something if I can.
That's nice.
The Atlanta Police Department collected the names of children in need from local churches, counselors, and community centers to bring smiles to kids' faces this Christmas. The department's officers and staff donated money to buy toys and personally delivered the gifts to the children at their homes. Like I said, I know everyone has their things to say about police, but I just think it's a cool story. Whenever you give kids toys. So let's see, Anthro Perrin was talking about. Gary was talking about the book started getting woke, but the show hadn't caught up to that bit yet.
I don't know exactly what he's referring to as far as that's concerned. I know that there's one major story point that I guess this isn't really a spoiler, but it's kind of I guess Amos gets beat up by Bobby, I guess, in one of the books, which is, if you've ever seen those two people standing next to each other, it's got to be the most fucking ridiculous thing you could think of. But I guess in the book, she's kind of described as more of a super warrior than she kind of, then in the show, she is that, but the person who plays her is a model. She's this tall. Yeah. And Amos is this brute. He was, in real life, the guy West Chatham's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So it's yeah, no, I don't think so. You could fucking put all the girls on the show against him at once, and he'd still win. But I get that's what Gary has mentioned. I'm not far enough ahead in the books to really have a lot of insight, but that's what he said. And he seems pretty disgusted with like one of the books, but those are not the books that are getting made. There's 3 books that they stopped, 7, 8, 9, and I guess it was 7 that he really hated, and that's not getting made into a show. So
yeah, because they're ending at the next season, right?
Yeah. So I guess that we may never know. We may never know, which is cool. Fine with me.
So yeah, because I'm probably going to get into it because everyone keeps talking about it. So like, how far are you in the books?
I think I'm in the 3rd book. I think I read the 3rd book. Maybe I'm like halfway through or something like that.
So is it fair to say each season has been each book? Is that what they've been doing?
Kind of yes and no. It's a really atypically structured TV show, which I love about it. I admire about it. So I feel like the first 3 seasons are kind of all one story that kind of like has got like a big arc, but like there's a storyline that picks up halfway through season 2 that ends halfway through season 3. Like it's kind of like it's sort of gray, like, right? Okay, so yes, technically season 1 is book 1, season 2 is book 2, season 3 is book 3, technically, but it kind of, there's a lot of bleed over from like storylines into seasons and stuff like that. Like it's really atypically structured, which I admire about it. Like I love that about it. So technically yes, but not actually.
Okay. So, because I was wondering, cool Saved by the Bell, yeah. Because
that's funny.
I was wondering about that. Like, okay, if they're ending the series, and I remember what Gary said about the wokeness coming along. I didn't know if the series was going to end before that point, and I wasn't sure if the books were actually falling along season to season. So you said it's atypical. So that could include, because I'm like, how do you end something partway through it?
Well, apparently there's a huge time jump between books 6 and 7, like 30 years or something.
Oh.
And like the way the book deals with it, like, is there's anti-aging drugs, but apparently they're not that powerful. So they would look older, but not quite as older as they would be, you know, but I guess my impression is that the creators are just over the story, that they're just like, we finished, we did the last book, we're done. And they've been living in the Expanse world for probably close to 20 years. And I think they're just out. They're just like, we want to move on. It's been enough. We're good. Because because I put out a video saying it's canceled, my most successful video ever. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. But I got a lot of comments, and I looked at some of their tweets and stuff like that. They're like, hard, it's not canceled. We are wrapping the story up, and we don't, you know, maybe they'll make more of it. We probably won't be involved, is the impression I'm getting from them.
I see. Well, it's good that this season has gotten off to a good start, and no wokeness, nothing like that.
Nope. And there were times where I thought it was going to happen. Like one of the characters is revealed to be gay. Spoiler alert. I won't get into it if you haven't seen it. But it didn't matter. Like they didn't highlight it. Like it revealed is not even the right word, because it's just, you know, the person's in bed with the other person and that's it. And they just move on. Like they don't really even deal with it. Like it moves the person's partner as part of the story, but it's not really like, they're not like, hey, by the way, this person's gay representation. It's natural. It makes sense for the character too. It doesn't seem out of left field. It's like, we didn't know that, but it doesn't feel forced at all. And then there were a few times where it was like a matriarch. It was like running this one particular like science festival. It was like 3 women and 1 guy. And I was like, oh, here we go. But they never lean into it. They're like, and I'm a bitch who's like a boss and in charge. Like, it's just, she happens to be in charge. He happens to be her subordinate. It's never weird. They never play those games. It's amazing, actually.
So they treat people like humans. Okay. That's different than everything that's been made the past 10 years.
It's mind-blowing how elegant they are, and I'm fairly certain they have they're woke people, like they think like that, but they never put it in their show.
Yeah, I think they are, because I could have swore Gary had one of their crazy ass woke tweets up. I can't remember it offhand, but I remember being like crazy woke, not just like mild wokeness.
Insufferably woke. Like Dominic Tipper, who plays Naomi Nagata on the show, who's like, she's great, and she's a really cool character. She's like this engineer chick who's a belter, who's like this kind of like, they're kind of like this oppressed culture, but they're sort of like punks. It's pretty cool. But her social media is insufferable. She is all BLM. She's all like wokeness. Like it's very angry. It's very pointed. She's like one of these people who's like it consumes their identity, their politics. You know what I mean? Like she's so about it. I couldn't even follow her anymore. I couldn't take it. But it's amazing how like the show doesn't do that. Like it deals with like inequality, but it's not like a heavy-handed modern day bullshit. Yes, exactly. Like it doesn't do anything the way Star Trek Discovery does.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of Star Trek Discovery. Like I can't hate watch something.
Me neither. I was just saying that in my last stream. I can't do that.
Yeah. Like I'm sure I'm gonna on my channel review. Actually, I know for sure there's something I want to review that I don't like. And I'll leave it at that because it'll be controversial when I come out with it if anyone watches it. But I can't hate watch something like a series. If it's a movie, I can get through a movie. Series, man, even though I'm gonna struggle through this Batwoman when that comes out. But that has
really that's hilarious though. Like the EFAP guys think it's hilarious. Like I don't know. Like it might be so bad it's good. Like that might be. I don't know. I don't really get off on that. Like I don't find that fun.
Yeah, I don't either.
If it's woke people that are proverbially swinging, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. And you know what? There's two reasons. There's multiple reasons I'm covering it. One, like I've said before, Javisha Leslie in a bodysuit is not a bad idea. Two is that so good or so bad is good factor. And like judging from what I saw, I never saw the first season, but just seeing other people's reviews of it, it looked so like fantastically atrocious. That there was like a perverse, like I want to kind of see this anyway. Just like the New Warriors, I wanted a copy of the New Warriors. Like I had to have a piece of the end of the comic industry. Like I had a perverse interest in getting it.
That's funny, but it's fun because it's them like imploding so much. It's like woke culture drives me crazy until it gets to this like absurd level. Like Joe Rogan talked about it on one of his shows where there was this woman at I think it was like Wesleyan or some college like that. Yeah. And it was this girl wanted to be, I think like student body president or whatever, but she was a trans woman to male who identified as a straight man. Right. And so when she was running for president, right, you'd think that would work. They didn't elect her. There was a campaign to not get her elected because she's now a straight white man, and that's moving the male patriarchy forward. This is the most amazing story ever. That I enjoy. Like when they're eating themselves and it gets so like their insanity just like exponentially builds into like this singularity of crazy. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, and I think the New Warriors were an example of that. And then Elliot, I'm gonna call her Elliot Smith, Elliot Page.
Oh my god!
Sorry, I don't know where that's coming from.
No, I'm not even laughing at that. I'm laughing at just the mention of this person. It's just like, oh geez.
But I mean that they're gonna have to deal with that. I mean, because they're pandering to this woke world.
He doesn't. His pronoun. He's he and trans. That's how they're dealing with that.
So they're trying to.
No, that's how this person's fake dealing with it. Like, it's like he wants the best of both. Like he wants the guy thing and the trans status. Like so this way, it's not a straight white male in this role. It's a trans male in this role.
Paraphrase the Joker. These civilized people, they eat each other. So I don't think that's gonna matter.
No,
I think they think it's gonna matter. They're railing at Chris Pratt that they're in that woke land, but they're one slip up from having that whole woke body that's pushing them today, coming at them tomorrow saying you're a straight white male now, patriarchy, this, that, and the third. So I mean, you make that bed, you got to sleep in it.
Ryan Long, this comedian, made this hilarious.
I love him.
He's so funny. Did you see the one with the girls who were annoyed that like woke culture was focusing on them? They're like, hey, in 2018, we agreed that white men were the worst, but now white women are bad. Like, and they're just like, now that they're like getting in front of it, they're like, we don't want this. Go back to the when they were hating them.
Yeah. I didn't see that one.
It was really good. He just put it out, I think, like maybe a week ago.
Okay.
It was brilliant.
I love his stuff.
So fucking smart. So funny. So insightful.
But yeah, that woke bubble, that woke, it's going to eat itself. So yeah, Elliot Page is going to have that same problem. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hope it does eat itself. I hope because that's the thing. Now I've gotten to the point where I'm rooting it on. Like now I'm like more. Don't fuck with the Expanse. But other than that, like it's great. Keep losing money on this agenda that like only you people agree on that is righteous way to live your life. Like that's great. You should definitely keep doing that because when you destroy yourselves and then there's this black hole, this void that needs to be filled, I'll gladly step in there and fill it. And so will a lot of other people. And maybe we'll actually get some interesting stuff to watch.
Yeah. I mean, part of how I even got to do a channel is because I was watching so much damn YouTube because I wasn't watching the normal entertainment.
Because it's not interesting.
You're ripping on shows like Batwoman and Last Jedi gave the Garys of the world the biggest sub bump. So you should hop on that train.
The Last Jedi, though, that's public service. That's different.
That is public service.
Like that needed that. That was a fucking crusade, man. That was a mission from God. That had to happen. Like Waller is like an apostle to me. He's a holy person.
Yeah. I mean, that Last Jedi thing, I have never seen it. I've never seen the Last Jedi. I've never seen the Fall. You say you neither?
I started The Last Jedi and I turned it off as soon as like I was this boiling rage. And they had that whole bit with like the guy, whatever the redhead guy was, and he's like doing the thing like where he thinks he's on hold. That bit, I was out. I was fucking out. I was like, I'm done. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I really love when Darth Vader slipped on a banana peel in Empire. That was so fucking. I was like, are you kidding me? Like this is a total joke. I'm too close to this subject to watch this. I won't. I'm out. Bye.
Ethel Perry says you saw the burning bush. I guess you're referring to Mauler being Moses.
Yes, it did. It did. The angel like spread his wings and gave me, an unbridled rage, and I consumed. Those videos are amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever your feelings are on EFAP, I mean you, I mean anybody. His Star Wars videos are unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't. EFAP sometimes just too much. That 12-hour stream, like I'll catch parts of it. Even though I'm not super big into it, even though I've seen it before.
We talked about that a little bit. Yeah. I can't for the time. I don't have the. That's funny. I don't think I've ever watched an EFAP start to finish. That's like too much. But yeah, it's an intimidating room. Like Rags intimidates me. Like it makes me uncomfortable. Like I think he's right, but I'm like, wow, I'd hate to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, I would hate to be being EFAP'd.
Yes, that would be really unpleasant. And it's like I generally agree with them. I like it. One thing I don't understand that they do, I'm like, yeah, you guys made your point 4 hours ago. Why are you still on this topic? Like, just on. Like, yeah, you're right. This video is terrible, and this guy's an idiot. But that was like established. Like, what? I don't understand the motivation to go through it that thoroughly when the guy's clearly a fool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their thing. Obviously, it's extraordinarily successful. I'm not judging it. I just don't understand it.
Yeah. I guess, just thinking out loud, I guess the thought is, well, if this is an 11-hour stream, somebody who saw a part of the stream earlier may not have saw it later. So going back into the same point has that value. But then again, if you are somebody who's riding with the stream for a long time, you basically hear the same point 3 or 4 times.
Oh, it's not that they make the same point. It's not that
not the same point, really, because they really go through it, and it's like every frame. So yeah, it's just like not the same point, but like you said, we're already halfway through this video. We already know what it is, and we got the whole other half to go.
Yeah. Okay. Although as I'm talking about it, I do kind of like because a lot of the times they pick YouTubers that are pretty successful. We'll have like a lot of subs, like 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 subs. And you watch their video and you're like, how is this possible? So I guess in that sense, it's kind of like a public service. You're sort of bringing down like someone who just is too propped up for what they're putting out there. I guess in that regard, it's kind of cool. But I share your feelings on it.
Yeah. Disney Star Wars films became a good opportunity to count the lights at the ceiling in the cinema. Yeah. EFAP or OCD reviews. Marla got his bump on The Last Jedi with this watermelon rant video.
I don't know what that is.
That sucker blew up.
His videos
a watermelon riding rant.
Millions of views. Millions. Yeah. But they're so meticulously constructed. They're masterpieces, in my opinion. Like when he did the Game of Thrones video about the last season, the way he meticulously went over character moments that they did in season 8 and then like went back to like season 3 where they were a completely different character. Like it was like, God damn, it was indelible. His argument was airtight. It was like, and so thorough, and used all these clips. I'm like, motherfucker, that was an amazing achievement that you put that much work. The argument was that articulate and you finished it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the inside baseball sort of thing, those type of videos are really fucking hard because they take a long time. I have never done anything close to that.
I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, not to that level. I mean, I'm trying to do more detailed stuff. I want to do detailed reviews, but like I'm still trying to find my way with that.
Yeah,
I don't know how I could ever get to the point of being that meticulous.
Me neither. And like getting all those video clips and like organizing them and he's funny, like he's charming and quick and lots of jokes and like his size and like personality comes out. So they're really excellent videos. That doesn't interest me. Like I'd rather come on and talk to you for 5 hours. Like, that's way more interesting to me than to put all that work in. Like I'm like, no thanks, not for me.
Yeah, you know what? I have an interest in both. Like I like doing the podcast thing. This is so fun. This has been the funnest thing doing a live streaming. And just sitting here talking crap. But I also like doing like I did one of the very first videos I did was one. It's kind of dated. And it was a sort of political one because I was talking about right after the George Floyd thing, they wanted to blame it on Trump, but they never say anything about the fact that both Amy Klobuchar and at least at the time, I don't know who it was now, if they recalled him, but the current what's this guy? the DA for the county, because Amy Klobuchar was the DA in the early 2000s, and now it's Michael Freeman, and they have all these different potential shootings that they didn't give a fuck about with the police. There was one where the mom begged Amy Klobuchar to look into it. For the most part, she went to a grand jury. But anyways, for that video, I tried to be a very detailed-oriented, long-form thing. It took me about a month, though, to do it.
Yeah.
When you consider, like, one, it was inexperienced, but two, just, like, doing all of the research.
Don't you have a job? Like, you have, like,
I do. I work full-time.
Yeah, so it's not like you have all this free time.
Yeah. And it was like a thing where every day after work, I was just editing. Oh my God, this is taking forever. And that's what led to me doing more content like this, because like it just takes so long to get something like that out. And that wasn't even near the detail that we're talking about.
Do you know the comedian Andrew Schultz?
I feel like I've heard that name.
He blew up in COVID. He's been around, but he blew up in COVID because he put out these videos that are like, they would put like 60 hours a week of work into these videos that like were, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes long, but like they would just like him and a crew of guys, they would just work on it and try to come up and like so many jokes. They were just so tight. But he's got a new special that's coming out, I think tomorrow. It's a 4-part special and it's covering like a lot of different topics. But he said the way he wrote it, he's like, I've never worked this hard in my life. He put in 100 hours a week, 100 hours of work a week. And basically what they did was they would call up experts about a particular subject, whatever it was. And they will call up like this expert and that expert, try to get, okay, what's the counterpoint? What is this like argument? And what's the other argument? And then the whole room would like work at like picking apart, like trying to find the holes in it, trying to like contradict it, like intellectually. And they would basically make these like really well-structured, articulate, smart essays. And then they would rewrite the whole thing with jokes.
Jeez.
And that's the special that's coming out tomorrow, 4 parts. Yeah. It's like, that's an unbelievably thorough and meticulous like way to make something. And I'm like, that's worthy as fuck in my eyes. No matter what your point of view is, like that's worthy.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. That sounds like a lot of work. I can't imagine basically putting all that work and then saying, okay, let's make this funny now.
Yeah, check it out tomorrow, man. Check it out on Netflix. I'd like to hear what you think about it because I think you'd like Schultz. Like he's a really sharp dude. He's not woke. He doesn't have any like opinions that are like prepackaged. Like everything he thinks for himself.
Okay, I think I may have actually heard him now that you're talking about him. Earlier in the year, I was helping my brother move through COVID, and he had like a podcast, and I think his name was mentioned. I think it was just playing like Joe Rogan or something. And I think they mentioned him.
Yeah, he just was so big. I mean, that's actually how I found him was through Rogan's. Rogan's shared it on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not big on social media. I'm like a boomer with that.
Don't. It's a waste of fucking time. He's got a podcast with Charlemagne the God.
Yeah. That I did hear him then. I did hear him. Okay. Doing the last because we've talked forever, and I appreciate having you on, man.
Man, thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate being invited on here. I love I really enjoy talking to you.
Yeah. I want to do more stuff together. We're gonna have to set something up to definitely do something. And the Die Hard thing, I definitely I'm pretty open that week.
Okay, cool. I put it in the Discord. I want to just do it Monday. If you're down to do it that Monday.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about everyone else, but that works for me.
That'd be cool. All right, that's fucking rad.
Okay. Let's do this last little positive story. End on a positive note, talking all the stuff we've been talking. And this one is definitely good for the small business owners. I haven't actually tried to use this, not necessarily apps, add-on plugin, but it's a man who releases a free Amazon for buying local tool that lets customers shop small businesses. It's not in every city, and of course, it's in a lot of woke cities, but it's still a cool premise. A man in Seattle has created a internet browser plugin that is making it easier to shop small business and compete with Amazon. Jonathan Sandals is the founder of Souk, or I'm not sure if that's Souk or Sock, which emerged from the realization that due to the pandemic closures, he had no easy way to shop at his favorite local businesses. That's kind of a funny way to come about it. Like, it should be obvious that all these businesses are closing.
Wait a minute, this is curious. How come I could shop there, now I can't? This is a whole conundrum.
Basically, that's basically it. I wanted to buy, that's exactly what he says. If I wanted to buy a jacket in Ballard or Seattle, I would have to visit 20 individual websites for small business rather than shopping for them in one place, Sandals told My Ballard. It's because of this problem that small businesses that we love are getting eaten alive by larger online corporate retailers, which are a one-stop shop, which is why you shouldn't close every business except the big ones. So he created Souk or Sock, which is a Google Chrome extension that aggregates product listings from numerous small store websites in one place and makes it easier to browse online and buy from the boutique next door. While Seattle is the launch city, it is growing rapidly and now works in more than 20 major cities, including, of course, Portland, New York, Chicago, Miami, Los Angeles, and more. It says Sandals believes in supporting local businesses and now more important than ever. Despite the fact that every store is mandated essentially to have a online business right now, they're all kind of impossible to find and are working against each other as the individual websites. There's no easy way to shop them. So yeah, that's
what's interesting about this story is that I heard that the Portland shop will actually take hours protested as payment. So I thought it was a really nice progressive thing. If you can log your protest hours, then you can buy sandals.
Yeah, and if you protest in the nude, apparently you get free stuff.
There you go. See, it's like there's like perks and benefits. It's like splitting your bets.
Yeah.
No, that's actually great. I think that's terrific because like I'm a fucking Amazon whore. I love
me too.
I mean, it's the best, but I like small businesses too, and I don't want them all to go. I work at a small business. Like I'm not interested in that getting destroyed and swallowed up. Like I think that's America, man. Like it shouldn't just be like this techocracy and like all these giant companies. It shouldn't be. We should have small businesses, people doing independent things. So if this guy like organized all that, that's badass. Like I respect that. I admire that. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah,
that's a cool story. That's another thing. I found lots of little cool stuff that people have come up with doing this stuff. I remember coming up with finding something that was like this art thing where this guy had an art collective, and I forgot the rules, but basically all these artists that normally show their stuff in galleries and stuff like that and deal with all the whatever in the art world, the little smarmy art world. Well, now he just had this Instagram thing, and a lot of these artists were making more money selling their art on Instagram than dealing with galleries. It was basically small, I think under $100 art, under $100 pieces of art, and after you sold so many, you had to buy a piece of someone in the collective.
Oh, cool.
And a lot of these artists ended up doing a lot better doing that than they were working through, the normal convention. I think, it's cool to see that there are people who are trying to make sure that the independent artist or businessman it gets a shot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because this is the greatest transfer of wealth ever with what happened this year. And so
makes you wonder, man. That makes me very exozone-y.
Yeah. I've been using that term a lot too. Just exozone. It's definitely a lot of fuckery involved with this
kind of shit that, like, if you ever listen to any of those people, they've been warning about for years.
Yeah,
one of my favorite memes of this year. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep going. I'll let you wrap up. But they got my favorite meme is the one where you've got the picture of like the family like going on the plane, and they're like covered head to toe in plastic. They got their mask on. They got literal water bottles on their head, and then the picture below is like a smiling family like sitting at dinner, and the top one says normal people, and the bottom one says conspiracy theorists. And I was like, that's that's one of my scary. Yeah, because it's like the normal people are like, oh, and the conspiracy theorists are like just enjoying their lives. I was like, that's fucking great.
That's crazy. I think the moral of the story for 2020 is don't believe the media. And the other moral is some people really, really, really believe the media, like worship what they say. And
I was just saying, I shared that quote from Morpheus from the Matrix, where he says like some people are so enamored with the system that they're gonna fight and die to protect it because they can't shake the. And I'm like, that's exactly what this is.
That's exactly what it is. It's easier to fool a man than tell a man he's been fooled. I think it's Mark Twain. It's a similar concept.
Like I like Mark Twain a lot.
Yeah. But I'm sure he's canceled. N-word Jim.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
That gets canceled like every few years. It gets canceled.
Yeah. Which I mean, it was written in the fucking 1800s. So I mean, like
during slavery, I think it's kind of relevant. Like, it's certainly not a pro-slavery book. Like, it's almost highlighting. Like, then the kid, like the guy corrects him. He's not just like, well, I guess that's my name. Like, he like gets in the kid's face about it a little bit and kind of explains. Like, it's a very woke book. Like,
yeah, it was woke for the time. It was definitely woke for the time.
But
yeah, because I remember. It was controversial because it was too respectful to black people.
Right. Exactly. And now it's any use of the word that isn't, by a person of color, whatever, however the fuck they want. Yeah. However it wants to be.
Making billions of dollars.
Right. Constantly putting that word in everybody's head over and over and over again. That's fine. But it's like one guy says it, one white guy writes it in a book. No matter what the context is, it's bad. It's like,
like, we got to stop that. I'm a free speech absolutist. I don't deal with that stuff. It's like we have to be allowed to say whatever we want. That's why I was pissed about the little Dilbert guy getting his shit censored.
I was listening to you talk about that earlier. Yeah, I covered an episode of The Expanse like while you're on. I didn't want to. I said, cool. But I wanted to hear more about that story. So I have to go back and listen because that sounded really interesting.
Yeah, just that. I mean, they came up with that little rule about the election. It was ironic because I hadn't even covered the damn thing since it happened. And the first time I did something on it was like the same day or the day after or whatever. And they came up with the rule: you can't say anything that we didn't tell you to say, or else your shit gets taken down. And a couple days later, he came up with his podcast, and it was just taken down.
Now that's Scott Adams. Is that the guy?
Yep, Scott Adams, the guy who created Dilbert.
That's fascinating because he was actually on an episode of Ryan Long's podcast, The Boys Cast.
Okay.
It's a really great show if you have the time to check it out. It's fucking hilarious. I love him. But he was on an episode of that. And like the guy was actually like pretty even keeled. Like he was I like, it wouldn't have shocked me if he was conservative, but he wasn't outwardly conservative, and he also was like giving like respect to like Alyssa Milano, like in a way that like, it was an interesting angle. I was like, wow, I thought, she's a slam dunk, you boom, you just crush her. But like I was like, oh, that's an interesting take, and that's not like the easy basket. I was like, oh wow, that was okay. This guy's like a thinker. He's like a smart, like this guy's different. And so it's like the idea that he would get like canceled or say something so controversial. It's like, oh, reasonable now is illegal.
Like this one, the preppers must have done some memes when the shelves went bare in March and they had the storable foods all ready to go. The preppers were proven correct 100% this year.
Why do you say that?
Because
like the doomsday preppers or like the people who like reacted to the pandemic, like
I would say doomsday preppers.
Oh,
because like pure doom, like the people who were in 2017, 2018, 2015 back saying, "Oh, we need to prep," and they used to do shows about them.
Yeah,
and think they were crazy. But real quick about the Scott Adams thing, about like you said, him being an even kill guy, and you would think that wouldn't impact. Eventually, we have to just like realize Twitter isn't real and it's a complete straw man, and just stop giving it credence. Like, no disrespect to people who are homeless, but Twitter is a very mentally ill homeless person.
Bro, I can't. It's so funny you said that. Today, I was going to bring this up. I forgot. Ricky Gervais was on Jim and Sam this morning. I don't know if you know Jim and Sam, but it's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. It's like these, you know, and Ricky Gervais was on there today, and that was the exact analogy he used. He said,
"Wow,
if you're walking down the street and some like homeless guy who's like covered in his own shit calls you a cunt, are you going to listen? Are you going to give him any kind of credence? No, you're just going to keep walking." And that's what Twitter is. That was his exact analogy.
Yeah. And I think, I actually think the average person does, but what's happened is the media for a decade was able to use Twitter as a straw man for whatever they wanted. Anything
they wanted. People are saying, outraged users are saying, now they wouldn't say outraged, they would say people are outraged. It'd be like three dickheads.
Yeah. And they could generate that backlash very easy.
Very easy. They still do.
Still do. You have your burner account. We're outraged. Then you can write the article about the Twitter outrage.
Dude, I was thinking about that when you were talking about the cops. I was thinking about what whoever's generating the outrage about like defund the police. It's like, if you legitimately want better police, then you would want to fund them more so that the quality goes up and the training goes up, right? But it's like someone coined that and then they throw it out there and it just catches fire with everybody. It's like there's someone motivating that. There's some like brain trust getting people to repeat this garbage. Yeah. They generate their own outrage. You're right.
Yeah. And I mean, there's an exozone element to that even. You know what I mean? It's a lot of coordination with that. And they're able to generate their own outrage. They're able to do the fake straw manning, and they can go right now, let's say we were, hated. We had a big enough platform. They could have somebody in the comments come in, tweet some homophobic craziness and say, "Oh, this is what their supporters believe," and just spam it. And once they get that mainstream media behind it, the mainstream media can tell people that the sky is orange and purple, and they'll tell you that the sky looks like a creamsicle.
That was one of the things that Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers said, that like he has all these haters, because he's like a conservative guy and he says what he thinks. He doesn't give a fuck, which I love. But he when he started like his website, like geeksandgamers.com, he like didn't want to have any restrictions, but then he realized that people would take advantage of that. So what they did was some fake, troll type account would go in there, post a bunch of like Nazi shit or homophobic stuff or whatever, screenshot it and be like, this is the type of stuff that you'll see on Geeks and Gamers. Even if they're the ones who posted, like they just are creating this false impression that it's just full of white supremacists just because they don't like him and they think, well, he's close enough, so it's good enough. I'm still in the right here.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying something about that. It's just crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it is.
That's why it's like a paywall really helps, because you keep a lot of crazy motherfuckers out.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Those guys I love these two guys. I keep going. I'm sorry, man, but
we're good. I like that we're rolling, man. It's cool, and people are still with us.
Word. Cool. Good to see you all. There's a show, History Hyenas, with these two comedians, Giannis Pappas and Chris Stefano. Fucking hilarious. And they say a lot of wild shit, but they're pretty, I mean, they're, you know, they're very real guys. They're just from New York and they just don't have any kind of, they don't have as many filters, but they acknowledge it. It's really funny the way they take it. But he's like, they have a Patreon shows and he's like, yo, it gets wild in the Patreon shows. And, you know, no, like, hey, we're kidding shit, you know, like they just say crazy stuff. Like, and it's like, yeah, like, and who's going to pay money to go expose them? You know, it just doesn't happen. So like, they've kind of got like this little barrier up there where they can just do whatever the hell they want. And it's like, if you you can't cancel that.
Yeah, that's smart. And I think if I had a Patreon, I'd probably do stuff like that, because there's a lot of stuff. One of the many reasons I stopped kind of like going really heavy with the politics, it just is like, I'm going to cover it from like an exozoning perspective, where I would sound like everything's a conspiracy, but I mean, that's kind of what I believe. I believe it's a lot of BS, and not just on the left either. There's a lot of BS on the right. You can kind of see the right is starting to implode a little bit on its own as well.
100%. I will say though, I like the challenge of like tiptoeing around it. You know what I mean? I kind of like that challenge a little bit. Like, obviously I'd like to get to a point where I can just say whatever the hell I want. But sometimes you get uninteresting if you're just ranty, you know, and
Very true.
And that's not as much fun. And I like the fact that we're saying like exozony, you know what I mean? Like that term, and being able to say what we want to say, but without saying it.
There's something to that. And then I'm actually thinking, and I'm going on, I'm thinking about Howard Stern. And when he was on terrestrial radio, where he had the most restrictions, he was at his best.
Absolutely.
And then when he had no restrictions, he ended up becoming PC, ironically. So after years.
Terrestrial, though, is a lot different, because I'm a big Opie and Anthony fan. I've listened to them my whole life. And they talk about a lot, like when they were on, like they would talk about the difference between, like, they could do more on terrestrial radio because like there was like the woke movements weren't there, where like people would organize a protest or whatever because there was no social media. So you could say and do anything that was legal and didn't violate the FCC regulations. But other than that, you could do anything. And then once people started going after advertisers, and once you had to worry about special interest groups, they're actually much more restricted on satellite than they ever were on regular radio.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it is crazy. And then with this platform, I mean, I think it's so ironic that YouTube is cutting off his nose to spite his face, because I've heard that YouTube itself is a very expensive platform to run.
Extraordinarily. Apparently it loses money.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed, but if you like, anytime I go into my YouTube, it's trying to get me to buy YouTube Red or whatever the hell it is.
I did, by the way. I didn't buy it, but it's got like, gave me 3 months for free, and I was like, fuck it. I actually love it. Kind of love it. Really? Yeah. Okay. Because there's no ads on anything, which that's terrific. And I can play it in the background now. So if I'm like, I always play shit from my phone. So if I'm watching like Friday Night Tights or whatever, and then I like want to answer a text, well, it stops Friday Night Tights.
Yeah.
And it breaks up the rhythm or whatever. And then I'm behind on the stream, and I'm never quite on. But now if I just, whatever I open, it's playing in the background. And I know that's a really steep price to pay, but no ads and playing in the background actually is, I like YouTube even more now. I'm not a shill. I'm not like a partner. I'm just saying, for me, I kind of like it. And it's 3 free months. So fuck it. If I don't feel like paying it, I won't.
Yeah. I did a free trial once, and I was just like, it's cool. Like the ads in the background. But then again, I have an Android. So the Android will let you do picture in picture on it.
Oh, okay. So you don't even have to worry about that.
Sometimes you do, because there's some apps that it doesn't work. But for the most part, like text, I'm okay with. I can answer a text and still be cool.
Okay.
So that's cool. But then certain apps, it won't work. It'll like stop the video and stuff like that.
Yeah. I have the iPhone, so yeah, I'm fucked.
Yeah. But I mean, just the fact that they're trying to sell, they're definitely trying to push that service. And at the same time, they're like yeeting everybody that is, left of Chairman Mao. And it's like, kid.
I wonder what that's about. I was thinking about that. Like, I was thinking about that today. Like, I was thinking about something that somebody did, and I was like, that's pretty gay. Like, I was just thinking, like, that's pretty, and not like homosexual. It's just like the way you used it growing up.
Yeah.
Like, if I said that on my channel, would there be repercussions? It's like, no. I mean, because I'm too small. But like, when do you hit a point when there is a problem? Like, will YouTube step in, or will there have to be like reports on your content? Like, how do you? When do they start meddling? Is what I want to know.
That's a very good question. See, here's the thing. I think that they already will, because I did a Kyle Rittenhouse video at one point, and I did that's another video I put a lot of time as far as the breakdown of what I thought. And honestly, I wasn't even, and I still am not like, I definitely think what he did was self-defense, but I'm also not like lionize the guy, like, hey, let's call Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, he's a fucking 17-year-old kid, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
He wanted to be there. He wanted to be there.
Yeah.
That's my impression anyway.
I agree he did want to be there. And I also, I wasn't in favor of him. I'm like, if he wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened, even if it was self-defense. That was my take, and I still is. So it wasn't like I had this hardcore super right, pro Kyle, let's kill commies take.
Right.
But something weird happened to that video's impressions, and around that time, weird stuff just happened with my channel. And granted, I am and still was too small to really know. But it just felt weird after that point.
I had a video I put out about, it was so weird. This was like still pretty early on, but I had put out a video about the Spider-Man, where they're gonna have all 3 Spider-Men in the video, or like the new movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. And the video, it didn't really do great, but it had like, I don't know, like 9 views or 10 views. And then it just shot down to 2 views. And then they never went back. I was like, well, what were all those views? Where did those views go?
Yeah.
So weird. I was like, what was that?
That's weird. So sometimes I don't know if it's an algorithmic thing or like if you just, I don't know. Sometimes I know there's like ghosts in the machine, which is weird stuff happens because it's YouTube and it's weird.
I mean, think about how fucking massive running a thing like YouTube must be, dude. Like I've done 2 hours today. We're on our 3rd hour right now. Like there's billions of minutes of content uploaded every single day. The fact that it runs as smooth as it does is a miracle.
It is a miracle. That's why it's crazy that they go through so much for censorship. It's like, how much time and resources would you guys save yourself if you didn't give a fuck?
And that get into that weird territory of like, well, it's like, yeah, now you're kind of behaving like a publisher, and you were protected under the fact that it's just like, that whole thing where it's like, if someone says something, terroristic over the phone, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a crime. Like, the phone company can't be held liable because it's like, it's just the phone. It's not up to us. Well, that was what they were hiding under the internet, like all these platforms. It's like, oh, well, we can't help what people are saying on YouTube or Twitter. It's just a utility.
Yeah.
But now they get very into saying what you can and can't be said. So it's like, should you be held liable then?
That's what I was saying. People keep saying you need Section 230 reform. Like, can't you just enforce it as is? Because they're not a platform anymore. They're a publisher.
Yeah, and like, how about, or why don't you just stop like convalescing to these fucking mobs?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit what they say? They're gonna go away after a while. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I almost feel like, ironically enough, Disney is starting to get that, because they haven't really done anything with Gina. There were rumors, but I don't think they're Gina. I think they're pushing fucking Gina. I think they're like, okay, we're rocking with her, and apparently she's a really popular celebrity. Like, when you look at the metrics, Yellow Flash did a video talking about she was like 33, 34 as far as the most popular celebrities, and up there she was right next to Henry Cavill, ironically her ex. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know she was up there like that. I thought she was just popular to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. I thought so. I would have just assumed it's like the Phantom Menace people, because like she doesn't bend the knee.
Yeah, but apparently she's popular with a wider audience. So she's starting to cross over a little bit more than I even realized.
You think they're going for like the professional wrestling angle, where it's like, even if people hate her, that means eyes on the product?
Maybe.
It'd be smart. That's good business.
That is good business. I've been waiting for more businesses to realize stuff like that. Like, just because everyone says this person is controversial, that's not a bad thing. I mean, historically, it's actually been a good thing.
It's usually monetarily successful. That's why they say all press is good press.
Yeah, which is what makes YouTube like, because I never understood, like, if you're YouTube and you're Google, why are you bending the knee to ABC or Disney or any of these big mainstream platforms?
That's when I get all exozony on it, because I'm like, they have no monetary reason to do it. Like, it's no reason for them to, like, why would you? I mean, I kind of understand, I guess, when it was new and you didn't realize, like, when they would go after advertisers and these like woke mobs had power. But I think we've all come to the realization that they don't. Like, they're just kind of noisy and they'll move on because they're fucking children and it's just an angry thing. And once they burn out their anger, they'll move on to the next thing. And that's all it really is. So why then? Why continue with this Trump shit? And like, why put all that stuff on there? It doesn't benefit you monetarily. So, but you're invested in some other reason. What is that about?
Anthroparian says follow the money, which surprises me that KK still has a job. I don't think that's money. I think that's dirt. The Knoxville, Indiana Journal is like molesting the corpse.
Yes,
it is.
You're right about that dirt thing. I think you are right about that.
Because the reason it is that she just seems too indestructible. And her and Leslie Headland, how can this woman be associated with Harvey Weinstein and have a job in Hollywood if not for the fact that she was associated with Weinstein and may have picked up some things on other people?
Well, the narrative would be like, because they're all intersectional, right? So women don't have equal power, like that's their worldview. So it's like they would argue that she didn't have the power of a man in that circumstance, or she was, under him, so she couldn't have acted, in anyone else's best interest. Like that's what they'll say if you were to bring that up to them. Like that will be their counter argument. My point of view on Leslie Headland is I don't know what the hell is going on with the Harvey Weinstein. She's probably dirty. I would think she's dirty. Most of them are dirty in Hollywood anyway.
Yeah,
she probably is too. But I'll tell you what, I really like that show Russian Doll that she did. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
And that's something I think, like, I haven't heard much in the fandom menace. I don't think anyone's actually seen it because it's like you look at that face and that looks like an intersectionalist wolf. You know what I mean? Like she's leading, she's throwing the Molotov at the rally. Like that's what she looks like. She's just got that smug little face with those little glasses. She looks like a see you next Tuesday hardcore. But
women talking about white women need to do more.
Oh yeah, she'd be like the one telling the black cop that he's a disgrace to his people. That's what she looks like.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that show was really good, and it wasn't woke. And in fact, the girl, I mean, at least as I can remember, my radar wasn't quite as attuned as it is now. But the girl, like the character who like the lead character, is a bit of a train wreck of a person. It's a girl, and she doesn't get any brownie points for being a girl. She actually, the whole thing is how poorly she makes decisions in her life. And that's kind of like her journey is to kind of grow the fuck up and be an adult. So from a writing standpoint, I kind of like Leslie Headland. I'm not opposed to it, but just when I see her with that smug face sitting next to Kathleen Kennedy, I'm like,
One thing I will say about Leslie Headland is the last thing she said was a lot less woke. It felt like she was trying to walk back a lot of that shit she was talking, because she had said something like white women need to do better, and
she said some dumb shit like that.
Yeah, she said some stuff about, she says a bunch of woke stuff, and this is supposed to be female centric, and then she started back saying, well, this is going to be oriented in females, but it's not meant to exclude anyone. Men can come along too.
But they always say that shit.
Yeah, but she kind of tried to walk back a lot of wokeness, and I'm like, okay, so
they gotta be learning. Like I think what they're gonna try to do is bury it deeper. I think it's gonna still be there, but they're gonna think that they're gonna try harder to get it past us. I think is what they're gonna do, because I don't think Kathleen Kennedy knows how to learn a lesson. Like I don't think she's capable of actual genuine humility and like self-reflection on a profound way. Also, I think she hates Star Wars. Like I think she's disgusted with this whole thing and is only in it like from a competitive point of view, because that was probably the most uninspired speech I've ever heard in my life. Like
no, yeah,
didn't care. And I like with Star Wars, I used to go to sleep to it like every night, and even I get sick of talking about it. So how could this woman who clearly hates it talk about it all the time? She hates it. So it's like this is just competition for her. Like she just won't lose. She's like,
yeah.
What's his name in Raging Bull? Like, I never went down, Ray. You never knocked me down. Like that's her. She just won't go down.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that a lot of it is ego with her.
Oh, she doesn't like Star Wars. She's just trying to win the culture war and like, be a bad bitch in Hollywood. Like that's all this is.
Anthroparian has a good point. There has been a memo around Disney and Lucasfilm that has been toned and woke down. Apparently, this doesn't include Marvel because they don't give a fuck about that.
Is there a trans superhero in Marvel? I thought I heard that.
I mean, sure. I know the big thing about the Chris Pratt bi thing. Trans?
I don't know if that's true. I just thought I heard this comedian mentioning it. I just don't know if he was saying it offhandedly or if it was true.
I mean, who knows? I know I'm 90% sure with that DC has something with the hell's they call Future State they're doing where they have all these new woke versions. They have like this thing they're doing next year where they're doing woke versions of all the new comics. Black Batman, Brazilian lesbian, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think it's a trans Flash with the Oscar Pistorius tink leg things.
Tink leg.
Cat Williams had the thing, the tink.
Is that was his joke? That's funny.
Yeah, he called Oscar Pistorius tink, and I was just that's what I remember. But the leg things that he had,
and like little like scoop leg things.
Yeah, they have a Flash that has that, which makes sense, and he's trans, or she, or they are trans. So I know that. I don't know about Marvel outside of
that's exhausting just to parse through all that. Like just you bringing that up, just like I'm exhausted at the concept.
Yes, it's like, why are you like? I know why, but I don't know why. I don't know how it's gone this long. I've never seen, as far as the whole woke thing in general, regardless of what company we're talking about.
It's like they're like, I'm gonna go down with the ship, and I'm gonna drive this ship into that city and take it with me. It's like,
yes.
What? Let it go. You lost. So it's okay. You got to take an L sometimes. You lost. Move on. Get better with your commie propaganda. Like
I got it at first when they were trying to make it a wave and they thought it was a wave. I get how a lot of companies.
Yeah, because it was. Look, I live in Hollywood. It was a wave. It was in everything, and everyone here was like, "Yay, girls and everything," and they're all into it. And once they learn that the consumers aren't, well, they're not adjusting. It's like,
and they're tripling down. They're like, "No, you're wrong. Your tastes are wrong. Your opinion is wrong." It's like, I don't owe you anything.
And you can't force me to buy shit I don't want. Like, you just can't do it. Like, this is America. I still have freedom of choice. Like, you can't make me do it. Like, they can do it in the BBC because it's publicly funded, right? But they can't make us do that here. You can't force me to buy the Disney Star Wars shit. Like, I won't go. I'll never go. I'm not going to give you a dime for that shit. And it's like, you can't make me do it. And it's like, as much as you want to bitch and moan and complain and call me a racist and all that shit, it still is not going to affect my decision to support your project. And the sooner you understand that, the better we can all get back to enjoying this shit.
Yeah. And I think they're really entitled in the entertainment industry. Because I know, all right, I tried to do the rapper thing when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm gonna start back, hopefully.
Oh, cool.
Music with this channel, but different music, not just rap. But anyways, went to an artist showcase, and it was actually, if you ever saw the movie Fade to Black, it was one of Jay-Z's engineers who was actually there, Young Guru. And
I know Young Guru. Why do I know him? Yeah, okay.
If you've seen like documentaries from Jay-Z when he was in his prime, you would have seen him in the studio. He was like the engineer at the studio and the mix and everything.
Okay.
He was saying something to all the young artists, saying, nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you nothing. And I agree, but it also went the other way with the entertainment industry in general. Like, I don't owe them anything either. You know what I mean? I love Star Wars as a kid, but I don't owe you my next dollar to buy a Star Wars toy or Disney Plus or anything. I owe you nothing. You have to get every single dollar out of me. You have to earn it. You know what I mean? And
that's my only power in response to how you're communicating to me. Because it's like, what am I going to topple Disney? Like, I mean, it's like, it's a mega conglomerate. It's so huge and powerful. The only tool I have in that fight is not supporting you. And like, you can't make me give you my money until you provide me with a product that I want. Like, even if you buy up all media, I'll stop watching it. You can't make me get into it. And you think you could, they thought they could until they've like losing money on all these Star Wars properties. And like, it's like, I don't know. That's why I don't think this Disney announcement is any good at all. Cause I think it's a scramble. I think they're like, okay, look, this is how many subscribers we have. This is how many watch Mandalorian. This is a good sign. There's a buzz online, even though my Mando reviews have probably got to be the lowest rated videos I have.
Yeah,
in my
I'm not getting anything from them.
shit, who cares? But they think they're like, okay, there's people watching, so let's double down on all this Star Wars shit and just try to make as much money out of this as possible. Which I'm just thinking, like, that is a long shot, man. Like, you are putting how much money into all these productions? Star Wars productions are expensive, dude. It's like so much props and special effects and costumes and shit. It's very pricey. Like, you can't just go to the back lot where all that stuff exists. Like, you have to make all that. And so it's like they're putting all their eggs in this one Star Wars basket, and like, they've barely proven to me they even know what Star Wars is, let alone how to make 15 different series any good.
I agree. I think they jumped the gun on I think they needed another good season. Even though I like the season of Mando a lot, but I think
everyone seems to be into it. I haven't really watched it, so
okay. I mean, I like it. I like it, but I get all the critiques on it, and I've had plenty myself. But I think this season was Iron Man 2, where they want to introduce everything, and I think they needed another solid season of Mandalorian to figure out what the Mandalorian was before they start spinning everything off, but they were on a different timetable.
Yeah, like, I'm into Cara Dune because I like her politics, but like, I'm not so into it to be like, oh, I definitely want to see a show with her. Like, I'm not even sure I'm into Mandalorian yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you barely earned my interest there. And like, let's say even if you had, it's still only 16 episodes. I mean, how deep could my passion for this show really go?
Exactly.
So you're taking a pretty big risk that we're all going to be like for you with all this stuff. It's like, because I mean, most people aren't going to come back at first. They're going to have to wait and hear positive reviews before they even step a toe back in the Disney Star Wars universe.
I think for a lot of people, this whole show is going to go by without them ever watching for them to come back. They need this entire show to be good, have heard that it was good, and then hear the next new show.
And maybe a few years down the road, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I heard that was pretty good. I guess I'll go check it out now.
Exactly.
That's about it. I mean, I feel like you're going to get a huge portion of the population like that.
Now, this point is interesting. Anthroparian makes the way KK was lying through her teeth with Lucas in the room in the old video after they sold to Disney still boils my blood to this day when I see it. I do remember that video. I think you said a point about her hating Star Wars. She has worked in the George Lucas, area, with him and other producers since the 80s. Right?
Yeah, she's credited on like Empire. What's the second Indiana Jones? Yeah,
yeah. She's credited on a lot of stuff, a lot of
big shit. Like, you see Kathleen Kennedy, and like, god damn, that's like disturbing to see on my Indiana Jones. Yeah.
I remember when she got hired. I remember thinking this was a good thing. Like, oh man, she produced all this. She must have been impactful. No. And I think she hated her job. She hated her role. And I've joked about how I thought she got her job, and not too dissimilar from a Miss Brie Larson and a Mr. Kevin Feige. But I think she hated how she got to her spot. That's my theory. And I know that's being armchair psychology, but she has this disdain for what George Lucas did. Like, there's this Disney announcement was about bumping share price, cost no more than 5 minutes of Photoshop time.
That's a great point. That's not a single one of these will go into production. None of them are in production. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that is a good point. Shout out to Anthroparian.
Dude, you know what I think a lot of this shit is with the girls in like the Star Wars and the Ghostbusters is, how like, in the 90s, there's like this kind of women in the workplace movement and stuff like that. And it's sort of like that first wave of PC shit like that. And it's like girls want to, hey, why aren't we represented in these places and this, that, and the other? And then the guys are like, okay. And then they come and they want to like take down like the nudie magazines, and they don't like the dirty talk, and they don't like all the things that make it what it was before they got there. Like, I think that, like, I don't think they realize like they don't really enjoy this. Like, they just want to do it because they feel like there's some restriction to them being able to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like this ego thing where it's just, so then they're like, oh yeah, and then we'll make Star Wars, like we'll have like girls and they'll be like lightsabers, and like they don't actually care. Like, they're not passionate about it. It's like, I heard that girl from Clownfish TV got like offended when Ethan Van Sciver said most girls aren't Star Wars fans. And I was like, why are you offended by that? That is 100% accurate. Most girls are not Star Wars fans. Yeah, they'll watch it, but they're not going to buy models and build a fucking lightsaber and like watch it over and over and discuss the nuance. Yes, some will, but on the whole, the fan base is male, and saying anything otherwise is fucking stupid. So it's like, it's a boy thing. Boys keep it alive. They carry the torch for all this year, and the women who get involved with this didn't have the respect for it to begin with, and that's why it's a mess. I don't even think it's malicious. I think it's just stupidity and ignorance and just, I want in. I'm a girl. Let me play.
I definitely think that's definitely the case. In the case of Kathleen Kennedy, I think it's totally malicious. I think she had an axe to grind, and this was her long vengeance play. But in case of a lot of the wokeness, especially if you were talking about the comic industry itself, which got crazy, which I mean I only tangentially follow, but
I don't even read comics like that, and I was just, this is insanity. I can't believe this is real life.
Yes, it's the craziest thing ever. But I do think that a lot of that started with like, oh, there's not enough diversity and there's not enough representation, and we need to be represented. And so you got to make sure you hire us. You got to have LGBTQ and everything else. And then it became like, make sure you get the most diverse, which diverse, if the definition of diverse keeps changing, right?
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Used to mean a group of a bunch of different things, and then it became to be like anti-male, anti-white male. Now it's like a series of check boxes, and when you get the most, you win the diverse prize. So if you're like this doesn't stop. Like there is no point, because that's the thing, they're unprincipled. Like that's what I realized about myself versus them, is that I have principles, and like depending on like what is going on politically or whatever, like a certain politician or a certain side might reflect my principles more than another one. Like, for instance, freedom of speech. I'm a big, like we were talking about, you're an absolutist, and I'm pretty much that too. And it's like, but in the, in the 90s, 2000s, it was more, you were resisting the conservative side of things when it came to free speech, because they didn't like cursing and violence and sex in their media. They didn't enjoy that. But now it's like you're going after like the left, because it's like the left they don't like this, they don't like that, whatever their stupid fucking arguments are. But the thing is, my principle did not change depending on who was attacking it. The principle is the principle. And that's the thing these people don't have. They don't have principles. Like, it's not like, you shouldn't be judged on your race, which that's great. Because if they held that, then they couldn't say things like straight white men, because like that contradicts the principle. Like they don't have a principle. It moves wherever they fucking want it to move, because it's all about power, because that's how they view the world, as people with power and people without. And that's the only two ways to look at it to them. And that is literally how they view the world. That is what critical race theory is. It is, there are the haves and the have-nots. And if you have, that is because you oppress the have-not. There is no other way. There cannot be any other way that this outcome could have had. And it does not matter what the have or have-nots are, because there's a huge anti-Semitic thing to it too.
Which is amazing that they never get into that. It blows my mind how little like I'm shocked that I never hear that come up. I'm just like, wow, you guys really know who to not piss off, don't you? You know what I mean? Like, you never talk about that. You never talk, like the Asian thing rarely comes up. It's so interesting how you guys somehow you found the soft target, didn't you? You found the target that you can push, but you're not gonna go so far to go all the way with it. All right, fuck you.
Yeah. It's a lot of fuckery with that. But we've gone pretty long. We've gone really long.
Yeah,
I expect
we always do.
I appreciate it, man. This has been really cool, really fun. I think we could probably go forever.
Yeah, but I got something. I'm fucking starving.
Yeah, I gotta get something myself. And then, hey, this is the 100 subscriber special, so I'm glad it went long.
And congratulations, man. When I first started this, like some of the videos I was saying, that's one of the hardest milestones to hit is the first 100. And I took me a long time to get there too. And I just got lucky with one video that just blew up. But I mean, shit, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be trying.
Man, I gotta thank you guys. Everybody else has helped me get to 100, because I only did my 50 video or 50 sub video maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow, that's huge, man! Congratulations. That's really that's a burst.
That's huge, because like I've been on YouTube since Brie Larson started, so that was like June or July or August, sometime in the summer.
Yeah,
and I've done my little videos. Like I told you, the positive news stuff, the political stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And I did quite a few videos before I kind of hopped on Gary's live stream and then met everybody. And I was just at like 20 or 30 subs, and I'm just like, man, this is cool. Like, you know, it'd be cool if I had subs or whatever from this stream, whatever, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
And then it's blown up pretty good, and I'm hoping to keep this going and to do more stuff. And I'm hoping to actually have this podcast regular at Wednesdays at 8, so I can make a more regular schedule. And I appreciate you hopping on, man. We got to do something. I know we're doing a Die Hard, but we got to do something else because
I'm down, man. I have a great time talking to you. I love your takes. I love your insight. You're very free. Like your brain like works on its own, and I really love hearing that. Like it's, you know, it's like you're not predictable. I really enjoy talking to you, man. But other thing too, like I'm very happy to help and promote you. You know, it's like everyone in this community has been so welcoming to me and like unbelievably generous with how like they bring me on their streams and like everyone taught and they encourage me. Like I'm not even in a stream and I'll find out that like Jake was like promoting my channel. I was like, God damn, that is so generous. But I will say this, man. You know, I'm interested in you because I like what you do. You know what I mean? Like you we are very nice and kind and generous, but you are also offering something very interesting. So it's like, make sure you give yourself credit too, because it's like, if I didn't find you interesting, I wouldn't fuck with you.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, actually, I am at 101 after
Yes, nice.
101 Dalmatians. Yeah. Fun.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to get you another sub. I feel like I'm paying it for it, and I guess Anthony Perion is getting out of here, and we will too. Hopefully, the music. Hopefully, do an outro music because Paulie has intro and outro music. I want intro and outro music. It actually,
I want intro and outro music.
Made it, and I already had it somewhere, and I was doing it for these videos. Going to do the outro. So I want to thank anyone who is watching the show in presently or the future. I got to thank Matt at Foulball for coming on, talking cyberpunk and a bunch of other stuff. Anthony Perion, Fenrir, who was in a lot of my streams. Nick Weiser, Stone Cold Jeremy, anyone else who's in the chat, please blame my head, not my heart. Whenever you're watching this video, if you like the video, please like the video. Let me know what you think about anything me or Matt or whatever was talked about in the comments below. Please give Matt a sub at Foulball. I'll probably put his stuff in the description. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching.